Welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm North American Regionals. I'm Anna Prosser-Robinson. I'm your host, and things are getting serious in here. These teams are fighting now for their tournament lives as we look to who will move on and who will be eliminated. If you're just joining us, welcome. We are glad you're here, and let's bring you up to speed with a quick look right now at our brackets. Now, our next matchup will determine who is the second seed for Group A and who will move on to that group of 4. That will be the last match of Group A, and then we will move on into the playoffs. That's the only bracket we need to take a look at for now because our next match is ready to go. Now remember, you can vote for which team you think is going to win by using the hashtag HGC and the hashtag for that team. We've loved seeing your opinions, and they've been pretty balanced so far. So keep those up and let us know what you think of the tournament. Any questions you think we should ask the players, any pictures of your setups, we love seeing them. Now, let's get into this match. This will determine whether our second seed will be the old guard or the new face. You know them very well. The first team is Tempo Storm.
Tempo Storm coming out yesterday, managing to take a game off Naventic, for a lot of people saying that they would be the favorites, but really showing they have exactly what it takes to be at the absolute top.
Absolutely. They've done really well. Again, like bringing that Cho'Gall game out and being able to take a game off Naventic and putting up some decent games in that best of 3 overall. Definitely looking to be a pretty strong team here. 15-6 is their record. I do think they're going to put up a great series here against King of Blade Alpha.
This team is just making their place in the world. If you're rooting for them, let them know. It's King of Blades Alpha.
Making a bit of an upset yesterday, King of Blades Alpha is here to make a name for themselves. One of the newer brands in Heroes of the Storm, the first time they've made it to this top stage.
Absolutely. They honestly surprised me with a lot of their play. They've done really well, and I feel like they're kind of like the underdog without a doubt, but I feel like they're the one that can move into the dark horse position. And Chen being one of their most played heroes, I absolutely love that. And Zeratul too, we know Tempo Storm loves a clutch under that hero.
The drafts so far today have been amazing to watch. I can't wait to see what these teams have to pull out for us. Casters, will you take us there?
I would gladly bring you to the draft because I have no idea what to expect with these two teams colliding, Dread.
I think without a doubt Zeratul is going to be one of the hottest points when it comes to these two teams. Tempo Storm loves it. We just saw King of Blades Alpha also enjoys it. It's going to be something that where the prioritization happens, I don't quite know. I don't think it's going to be banned out, but I can expect if it's a first pick situation, the first pick team will get it in the second rotation, or it's going to be interesting. Is second pick going to be willing to take it in their first rotation?
Now, what are your thoughts on the fact that we're going to have Garden of Terror as our map and the potential of Cho'Gall being another big pick? Because we saw Cho'Gall used to some pretty good success for a variety of teams yesterday.
Yeah, I agree. I think Cho'Gall is going to be a topic point when it comes to these two teams. I'm going to say that I don't know if King of Blades Alpha has the ability to play it. I've never seen them play it. It's a very unique strategy, and it's not one that you can, like we were talking about yesterday, that you can just kind of pull out and just be like, oh, you know, have high success with it. I question whether or not King of Blades Alpha has it kind of within their arsenal. And honestly, it doesn't mean that they don't. It just means that they've kept it so well hidden that I even have no idea that they have it.
Goku, please. That face. They were just making Sonya sounds. The whole team was going, ha, ha, ha.
The real question is, like, does that look like a face of mercy? No, it does not.
Oh, my goodness.
Goku laying it down there, and Kings of Blade Alpha trying to get everything set up here, trying to figure out what they're going to be doing here in this matchup. I do think that they have the opportunity to take games in the series off of Tempo Storm here, but they are going to be the underdog there.
King of Blades Alpha was actually the first team to make it to the venue this morning. They made it on the earliest shuttle from the hotel here, and they were practicing before any other team had even arrived. So that just shows how much they want to advance in this situation.
Absolutely. That is not something you do if you've given up on what the circumstances are for your team. They are coming in here, hand warmers, getting ready, making sure that they have everything set up before this game starts. Talking Trees there is a really great player on their part. Also, another kind of standout key player when it comes to their roster, I'm going to say say is Tomster, typically being played on those kind of melee-oriented heroes. He is somebody we should be looking out here for, especially if Zeratul is going to be picked up. And then on the other side, on Tempo Storm, I think Goku on his melee assassins, it's very crucial that they play their team comps properly with him, as we saw kind of the Zeratul playing against yesterday on Tempo Storm's side.
It's so cool to see this prioritization kind of shift throughout time. Sometimes there's been a point in the meta where it's been about warriors for first pick, supports first pick, ranged assassin first pick, and currally we're seeing that heavy prioritization for the strong laners and for heroes like Zeratul.
Can't stop, won't stop, Goku.
No.
Face of mercy right there. And we're gonna go
the Slayer of Nerds.
We're gonna go into the Slayer of Nerds. He has been named here today. We will be moving in the draft here though. Kings of Blade Alpha already trying to figure out what are they looking to do here. Zeratul, where is he gonna fall into that pick ban phase? Right out the gates. I didn't expect it, but it was there. Everybody wants it. It's a hot topic point when it comes to these two teams.
I mean, just looking at Goku Zeratul alone and like the skill disparity between his Zeratul and his Thrall, I would remove his Zeratul 100% of the time.
I agree with you. I definitely think it's a smart pick when you're on the side of King of Blade Alpha. Tempo Storm definitely clutching onto things like that. Also, we've seen Srey kind of clutch onto things like Johanna, the rest of Zagara on the side of KO. Their compositions definitely do not show very much diversity, and if King of Blade Alpha understands that, they might be able to outdraft them here. Tasks that are going to be the response. Are we going to see the Rhaegar as we've seen a lot of teams doing? I think with Zeratul off the table, I think we can expect Kings of Blade Alpha moving into that, but we're on Garden of Terror.
I like Zagara too here, but they will go for Rhaegar. Okay.
Lost Vikings are something that is coming into play.
Now,
I think... I don't know if it's going to be bust out right now, but it's something to be looking at when it comes to this map specifically. You don't see Garden almost ever picked, right?
It's like, a rare map.
Oh, it's just one of those things that a lot of teams pull away from it. So unless they have a very, like, they know their opponents are just very, very bad at it, one thing that they could be looking to do is just be like, well, we know that we can play Vikings, and it's very good on this map. It just seems strange to be selected unless one team blatantly cannot play it as well as the other.
Now, to explain one of the reasons why Vikings is so good, you can actually throw one of the 3 Vikings into that plant terror itself and have just an immense presence on the map in general. Of course, the soaking in all 3 lanes, another big power that is enabled by Lost Vikings, but Zagara will be the first pick for Tempo Storm, and they do have one more option that they can select here. Li Ming has been a high prioritization.
I think that'll be the go-to.
By a lot of teams.
I think with Zeratul off the table, I really like Li Ming as kind of that mage. But they go with Falstad, going double sustain there.
Global presence is huge on this map as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely really good. One of the only problems that I have with kind of those pairings, as we saw, is the late game scaling out of that. Tempo Storm, I believe, I don't remember the exact composition. When they ran the Cho'Gall, they ran it with a double sustain Falstad Zagara.
I think you're right.
I think that was the case here. So is that as kind of a little bit of pattern in the draft? Are they going to be shifting a little bit towards the Cho'Gall here?
Is KoB willing to play Cho'Gall right now, though? They could lock him in with Rhaegar.
They could, but honestly, yeah, I mean, they definitely can. They can wait it out, too. They can also ensure the fact that it gets banned for the next phase. There's a lot of different options this early in the draft. They are going to lock in that Thrall, as we were talking. Tomster clutching under that Thrall. Yep. Very good. The Orc Boy is going to come into play here. Are they going to prioritize a tank? I don't think so. I think they're going to be looking for that mage. Li Ming or Jaina, I think, is something we can see coming out from King of Blades Alpha on this next pick.
Okay, yeah, Li Ming will be that mage that's picked up here, so a very strong composition. They have a ranged assassin, a melee assassin, and a top-tier support all on their team. The solo laner has been figured out, and honestly, there's not a weakness in that. Like, they can draft a variety of ways to fulfill the rest of that composition. Of course, they still need that warrior. So Tempo Storm, are they trying to lock out a warrior that would be working against them if they did that? So I'm feeling...
Not really, though. When you think about Srey clutching onto that Johanna as tightly as he is, like, I mean, it's just one of those things where I agree with you overall, but it's just when it comes to thinking about Tempo Storm's draft, their comfortability, like we were talking about, instead of like where King Caffeine doesn't like that Johanna, Tempo is very much the opposite way, and they do. That shows they very much like that. They think Johanna is the answer there. Morale is going to be banned out there, making Cho'Gall less appealing on the side of Tempo Storm. So Cho'Gall or Jojo is going to be the pickup here for sure when it comes to the tank. So Jojo, and what else if they do not go with that Cho'Gall?
If they don't go Cho'Gall, I mean, they could definitely go for Brightwing for the double global. That does have great priority, and Ziggs does very much like the hero of Brightwing. So paired with Falstad, I do like that option, just the great presence that is there, but I almost think if they do go that, they might need another like pseudo support for this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know. It's really going to be interesting to see how Temple decides to move on the rest of this draft. Whether or not they want to be worried about a melee here, they go with Leoric, so that's going to be a double tank style composition. What are they going to pair that with? Johanna? Get a lot of the wave clear. Could be a double Diablo. That's actually something
Mighty
Temple
Gust
Storm.
and Apocalypse is really powerful. If you blow them all into a corner.
That's actually, Temple Storm likes a different version of that. Leoric, Diablo, Lightning Breath, and Entomb. You entomb them into the Lightning Breath and you just lay it on them. I know Ray absolutely loves that strategy. And if you do see that pairing, that's something we could be looking at. But you are right. Also, APOC Guts, there's diversity in the options they can do with that style composition.
Okay, well, Diablo is definitely a big bruiser. And generally speaking, when you see Leoric picked up, it means double bruiser. But Vala, to me, that just says this is a comfort pick for Soldier.
I don't know.
We haven't seen Vala more than once this weekend. I think she got played in one game.
Okay, so the Vala pick, it's not even just the viability of the hero and the prioritization. That ensures 100% it's a triple range solo tank.
Yet.
It's a solo tank. It's a solo tank Leoric, which isn't necessarily impossible to run by any means. It's just not the margin of error.
And this is why we're saying that Temple Storm is kind of like the New Age 2 arc, because they draft a little bit differently than everyone else.
Yeah, I would say with they kind of like Blaze a little bit, but not as bold to some extent.
Blaze has got a little bit more wild strats, whereas Temple Storm is a little bit just like weird, and like they fundamentally look at the game differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with you there. So when it comes to the side of King of Blades Alpha, what do they want to round out the remainder of their composition with? I think ETC is going to be pretty much expected at this point, but then they have a lot of options to be moving with. Do they want to be worried about a double tank, triple melee style? Most likely not. Probably pull back. They have no sustained DPS to be worried about here, so I think what they're really going to be trying to lock in is just more burst-oriented heroes. The remainder of that, out of that kind of pool when it comes to those DPSs are pretty limited at this point. Kael'thas is an option, but not necessarily the best to be looking at there.
Right. Well, they do have ETC for that big front line. They could go to the double warrior. Sonya's still on the table. They could go for that Thrall Sonya for heavy engage. But when it comes to fighting under some of those plant terrors with the slam there, yeah, we haven't seen Lunara yet today.
Yeah, Lunara, Greymane, or Jaina. I feel like Greymane is what we're going to see.
Yeah, there he is.
There it is. Okay.
I like that pickup, actually.
Yeah, no, the Greymane pickup I do enjoy as well. The double reset is going to be real on the side of King of Blades Alpha. Sorry, it took me a while to remember he's even a thing. We haven't seen him at all today. And there we go. Now, Temple Storm going to be responding. What kind of healer are they going to win? Honestly, I think Karazim's going to be the best in the situation, but I don't think Ziggs has necessarily shown comfortability on that type of hero. I think Uther's going to be the pick, and I don't know if I like it. I really don't want to see a Malfurion here. I know that was something that Temple Storm ended up pulling up as a response to Lunara yesterday, but it's going to be interesting. They're going deep into their pool here to try and figure it out, Jake. But I really like the comp coming out on the side of King of Blades Alpha. It's honestly a very good composition. Heavy
engage, heavy sustain, just the burst potential exists, and they're going to go for that Brightwing. So the sustain on the side of Temple Storm is rather low. Note, when Leoric dies, it's not the most impactful thing in the world. He can get away with a good bit of stalling for the team. And yes, both Falstad and Vala have good escape with the Vault and, of course, the barrel roll. But this is going to be a really tough early game, I feel.
I don't know. I feel like Temple might have something up their sleeve kind of a little bit when it comes to this draft. At least I'm hoping that's the case, because when I view this, I very much view, okay, so the team fight's going to be starting happening, right? And it's really good sustained DPS on the side of Temple Storm, but then you're going to have that poke in the late game coming out from Kings of Blade Alpha. They're going to have that Greymane just throwing out that flask, as you will, just poking everybody down. Brightwing not being able to heal it out. They move in for the execution and they kill them. And you're like, well, your front line will be able to peel off of them. And you're like, oh wait, it's a Leoric. So I don't see the logic behind Temple's draft for the time being. But
has to be Entomb?
You know, at this point, I have no idea. I would say normally, yeah, I would. But I mean, with the Gust, it seems like that's going to be the pairing, just whether or not it's going to be safe enough for them. I don't know. If they didn't have Gus, I would say it's an option here to run March of the Black King, but we are going to see, here are our compositions here. Goku is going to be playing the Vala. Srey will be playing Leoric. Ziggs is going to be on the Brightwing. KO is going to be on the Zagara once more, and Soldier will be playing that Falstad.
On the side of King of Blades Alpha, we have Talking Trees on Thrall. Collusion playing ETC. Dark Chimera on Rhaegar. Frozen X playing Li Ming. And Tom Storm Greymane. This is game number 1. Let's jump right on into the action here on Garden of Terror for, if I'm not mistaken, the first time this weekend.
Absolutely. It's one of the least favorite maps out of all of North American competitive Heroes of the Storm. Honestly, might be a universal thing. But here we go. They're going to go head-to-head here between these two teams. Again, the early game scaling is going to be very, very slow on the side of Tempo Storm. They do have the double global XP advantage when it comes to that mid-game team fighting, but realistically, once that 16 threshold is going to be hit on the side of King of Blades Alpha, I feel like they have an absurdly powerful composition.
All right, just reviewing some of the talent options here. It will be a multi-shot style for Vola. Perfect Aim has been picked up. Stylistic for Greymane. It's been, between that and Wolfheart more often than less.
Viciousness, I saw one moment of viciousness.
Was that Glaura?
I believe it was KoB. I don't actually remember. Viciousness was shown one time though. Nothing too crazy. Maybe Blaze even. But overall, like you said, there's nothing too interesting when it comes to these two teams. Zagara's already on the bottom half of the map trying to get a little bit of that creep spread, as you see down there, and the rest are kind of going head-to-head in the mid lane. Nobody with too good of wave clear, really, and the 1-4 is not a common strat. This map is far too big. You see Soldier flying top. Usually, you see on this map a 1-1-1 and a 2-man roam squad, or a 1-1-3, which we are going to see coming out. Actually, a 1-2-2 so far coming on the side of TS. Saray getting a little bit aggressive here. Going to get damage on Frozen X. He burns his blink, but misses the W there. He's going to be able to walk out of that.
All right, well, you do see that Leoric is able to get out of just about any situation. Great poke here in the bottom lane already, just burning through that. But how much damage Soldier took in that versus Tomster on Greymane. That's why we see Tomster on these big melee assassin. He knows when to strike. It's
really interesting they decided to solar. Okay, we got a pause coming out here, but it's okay. So right out the gates, when we look at kind of the lane matchup out of these two teams here, Jake, it's really strange to see the fact that we've sent Zagara, who we know to be kind of a legendary solo laner, to the bottom half of the map, right? And then we see also Falstad's on the upper half of the map in a 1v1, but Brightwing helps out the dominant laner. Not necessarily the crippled laner. The Falstad not very good in that 1v1. So I feel like it's already a laning mismatch on the side of Tempo Storm. Maybe not totally understanding what they need to be doing when it comes to the early game success of their composition. And that could be really bad, because I do think if King of Blades Alpha composition snowballs against theirs, I don't see, other than very big gusts and mega plays, a very good way to come back in this game.
I mean, like you said, the double reset. If you get the double go for the throat with Li Ming resetting all of her abilities, it is just such a big momentum swing for that team. Yeah. So they need to be critical to keep everyone alive. And when you consider that Leoric is often a style hero that kind of goes in and throws his life away, knowing that his trait will get him up, the Undying, to get back alive relatively quickly, that actually will work so hardly against Tempo Storm. Yeah. It's insane.
And it goes even past that when you think about, well, you know what you'll do? Just get really good healers against Burst and against that. And you're like, well, they have Brightwing. You're like, wait. Okay, what if we just kick guys with really good self-sustain and with really high health pools, like a double tank or a sustained tank or something? And then you're like, but we took triple range.
Right.
And now, so
there are things that can work with Brightwing. Of course, as Greymane dives in, you can polymorph that target, and that will buy you a lot of time. And you can go for Shield Dust at level 13, which is going to give you a good bit of sustain, versus the big power of Li Ming as she throws at the big skill shots.
Yes.
But it's hard to do that effectively, and it's not the same kind of support as, say, an Uther, who heals you up. Brightwing's more about preventing the damage from happening, whereas other supports are more about healing you up after you receive the damage.
Yes, yeah, you are very much correct in that type of situation. And it's honestly, like I said, it's just one of those situations where unless there's going to be a major misplay, I just feel like the scaling on the side of the composition for Kings of Blades Alpha is going to be very, very powerful here. And we are going to be possibly figuring this out here soon, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it sounds like we're actually ready to jump back on in. All right, the issue has been resolved, and we are back in the action. Probably just somebody's mouse settings being off or something like that. It's pretty common for the first game of the day.
Absolutely, just getting these computers warmed up here. But now Seeds are going to be spawning. No team making a direct rotation out the gates. Rhaegar is going to be ensuring the bottom right-hand side. Brightwing's going to be ensuring the bottom left. So both teams going a little bit even, but Frozen maybe... Oh, no, he's going to get the XP there on the mid lane. Okay, so both teams. On the upper half, Goku actually ensuring the Seeds here. So Seed advantage right now, going on the side of Tempo for the early rotations.
Yeah, but Saray cannot contest this with 3 members on him, but we do see Goku around the corner, could consider assisting. They're just going to opt to play it safe. They got the 30. The Shamblers will be dead even for both teams, but what are they going to do to split here for the 2 plant terrors?
And that's actually a really heavy thing that I'm going to be harping on a lot when it comes to this game, is a lot of people see these big Shamblers and think that's how this map is won, and obviously they do provide a lot of opportunity, but realistically I feel like the advantage for this game game, when you see those double terrors, it comes up to those small side camps. They do add up over time, but the invasion from King of Blades Alpha here in the bottom half.
A big power slide in onto Goku. He's going to tumble away to safety. Brightwing phase shifting in, and that is enough, and Stray able to use a Wraith Walk to back out himself. But a great engage, forcing them off of this boss.
Falstad is yet to fly. Falstad is going to stay on the upper half, so they're going to give up the rest of this bottom. They aren't going to send anybody in here, so wow, just walk in, establish dominance on the territory, and take the rest of the Shambler. Seed advantage is going to fall heavily in favor of King of Blades Alpha.
Oh no, Tomster actually gets a kill there onto Stray, looking for Goku as the next target. The cleaves are huge, back behind the wall, in a beautiful start to this game for King of Blades.
Absolutely, and it's exactly what they need when they're kind of comp. If they snowball this game, it's going to be very hard to deal with. Meanwhile, on the bottom half of the map, you see the drained front wall. Yes, you are getting a front wall, but is that going to be worth what the Terror is going to be able to produce? I don't think so. Usually a Terror, as long as you get proper split push, will be a really big advantage for your team here. So Kings of Blade Alpha now with a very large advantage. Tempo Storm no longer has the opportunity to get a Terror in this phase.
Correct. It is not possible, but King of Blades is very close to getting one.
Yes.
But wow, Soldier gets caught way out of position. Barrel roll over the wall. He does manage to get away. Huge damage coming out from Goku and Zix. Ray trying to get in position to zone them away, but the Gildan cocktail forces them back.
It's about to go down. We see a 5-man. Never mind. Thrall is actually going to delay this rotation. He will not be moving up quite yet. There's only going to be a 4 versus 5 for a short period of time. Look at the health bars looking dead even.
They only need to sneak in a few more. They're constantly collecting these edge seeds at the corner of this plant terror, and it's working out brilliantly. Up to 92. 8 more are needed, but Tempo realizes it's the case, and they can look to try to capitalize on this situation.
Tempo Storm just cannot deal with the poke. Like the Brightwing pickup has allowed them. Look at how many Li Ming and Greymane just throwing out spells left and right there. The polymorph going to ensure
Arcane Flare. The inner circle damage from Zix actually takes out Greymane. That is pretty big for Tempo Storm.
It's huge, honestly. They need as many wins as they can possibly get here, but you saw that amount of spread damage that they were able to produce when they just throw out those spells over and over again. This is the early game. That is not where you look at Li Ming and Greymane and you're like, you know what? They're really strong at this point in the game. Yeah. That is later in the game. How are they going to be able to deal with this as the game scales on?
All right, well, what is level 4 Arcane Flare talent for Brightwing? I actually don't remember. It's not Sticky Flare, is it?
No, at level 4, it's going to be the range.
So that's why that was picked up. The additional range there for Brightwing, able to secure that kill, coming into play there. And also, we do see Zagara going for a full-on creep build once more. So we saw this yesterday on Battlefield of Eternity. Will it pay off here in Garden of Terror?
So now Tempo Storm is going to be able to abuse their globals quite a bit when it comes to this phase. Typically, the early Terror is not going to be that useful. You just want to keep it alive as long as possible. Oh, but Zix in the upper half of the map. He is going to get picked. Kings of Blade Alpha making a beautiful rotation. Now getting a free clear on these Giants as well. And they have the Garden Terror pushing on mid as well. The only problem is Garden Terror needs to be on the bottom half of the map. Zagara is applying a lot of pressure down there. And if he's able to cripple KO and then keep that 3-man split, oh, awesome. Now they have the trio pushing on the upper half of the map. The Garden Terror split pushing on the bottom half of the map. This is a perfect situation. They have 36 seconds where they can split push on their opponents and make them make a bad rotation.
Yeah, really forcing the hand of Tempo to just be behind and not be able to maximize their potential of pushing and back and trying to get that level 10 on even footing of King of Blades. Plant Terror still has another 20 seconds remaining and just playing very passively and safe, making sure it's annoying for Tempo Storm to have to worry about it.
Yeah, and really good job from Tomster. That's something a really heavy misconception when it comes to the general population of Heroes of the Storm. You do not want to just suicide these kind of things in here, but Soldier already got the barrel roll, jukes the dog, so he will actually survive the situation. Polymorph going to come out for the counter engage there, but nothing too crazy. Nobody's going to get too much. The Terror managed to only get a front wall at best, and honestly, both these teams really, they didn't get as much King of Blades Alpha much out of their that Terror phase as I'd like to see them get, but they also, it's not that they didn't get anything. They are going to be sitting with a slight XP advantage here, but now we are slowly closing in that power spike. This level 10 is when things get real on the side of King of Blades Alpha composition.
Entomb has been picked up for Leoric with Maw, Mighty Gust, and then Strafe and Blink Heal, so control is the name of the game, but the heavy initiation does exist on the side of King of Blades Alpha. Sundering, Mosh Pit, Ancestral Heal, Disintegrate, and then go for the throat for that huge burst damage on Greymane.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it's going to be pretty much when I was trying to question how Tempo Storm can win team fights here in this game, a lot of it's going to come down to that combo. We know the Entomb's going to come in, the Gus is going to come in to isolate the rest of the team. Li Ming is going to be able to burst over the wall. Greymane is going to be very susceptible to these type of situations. I don't know actually whether or not Disengage is able to use over it. I believe it will not work in the type of situation. Thrall is susceptible, ETC is susceptible, and so is Rhaegar. So there's a lot of good opportunities for this.
But Disengage doesn't go through structures.
Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. So
oh wow, Six taking so much damage. The wall is down, and Tomster is just doing
trying to get that go for the throat. Here it comes.
Got him!
was beautiful bait there with the disengage, turning around, throwing out the flask, and then confirming the kill there, waiting for that symbol to go over his head. Tomster, I told you, he is the player to be looking out for.
He was just styling on Zace there.
He was like, what you know about Greymane, son? That was very well done in his part. Definitely putting on a clinic here when it comes to how to play this hero. I am very impressed. I said he's going to be the kind of standout when it comes to King of Blade Alpha composition. Really well done on his part here. And now they're going to insecure the fact that they're going to have the opportunity to get a Terror here in this phase as long as they make the proper rotations. Tempo Storm still even on XP. Keep that in mind. Yes, they are losing on the kills 3-1, but for when it really comes down to it, they aren't that far behind. Tempo Storm still has a late game scaling composition as well. It's all going to come down to the poke coming out from Li Ming and Greymane.
All right, well, Tempo just constantly on the back foot, it seems, trying to regain some control. They do have that first Plant Terror now ready, just about to be channeled by Vala. It will be Goku driving to this Plant Terror into the mid lane, but we do have the second Plant Terror for King of Blades Alpha as well.
Interesting decision here to put Vala in it. Typically, you want to put your hero who is the least effective when it comes to team fights, and it probably makes sense to have her at this type of situation. You do see King of Blades Alpha also pressuring 3-land on the upper half of the map. They do have a Terror pushing, and have Zagara staying on the bottom half of the map the entire time. I don't think KO has left his little creep home down there.
Oh, he's got that creep
single
spread.
time this entire game. Now you see Trees making a really smart choice to go down here to try and get the split push, keep him busy. Meanwhile, in the upper half, his team is able to secure a fort.
Yeah, the top fort has gone down on the side of Tempo Storm, but level 13 to 13, very even so far experience-wise. So no massive advantage for either side due to the normalization provided by these Plant Terrors. And we do see Goku opting to rotate down to bottom, where Zagara has already done so much pushing for the team.
Yeah, and realistically, in the upper half of the map, though, the Polymar's going to be coming out. Oh, Tomster's going to queue out, and Stray's going to miss his W. And that's all it's going to take. He's going to be able to walk away from this. The 13 talent going to be picked up here is going to be Unfettered Assault there on the side of King of Blades Alpha, so he will have very good Q distance here, but Goku, the Entomb.
The max range Entomb, the Polymorph going down from that Queen's Curse, and the synergy with Leoric and the Plant Terror does pay off and blowing up Rhaegar. Can't even consider casting the Central Heal just due to the max lockdown from that the Queen's Curse.
I mean, it was really well done on their part. They do walk away with that one pick. This isn't late enough for their type of composition to get away from this. He is going to give up a full W from that Terror.
Poly goes out, Arcane Flare. They do see the big Hammer Rain flying forward, slowing down Talking Trees, and the damage output, the body blocks are there, just completely surrounded. So Thrall a little bit reckless, Talking Trees with that Plant Terror.
No, that's definitely what they need when it comes to Tempo Storm to try and make a big win on this map. They're going to try and capitalize on the small advantage. They have 25 seconds to make something happen. Expect them to make a big play here somewhere with a gust or something of the like. Greymane, meanwhile, soaking on the upper half of the map. Like I said, when I think when the 16 spike hits, if a map objective like one of the Shamblers is what the fight's going to be over, I'm really fearful of the poke coming out from King of Blades Alpha.
The presence for King of Blades actually forces out not only a phase shift pulling Brightwing out of top, but the Mighty Gust there. But they're now focusing Entomb there onto Collusion, using Power Slide out of the Mosh Pit, and the Ancestral Heal will connect. A great sustain here. Now Stray needs to desperately back on away because Mighty Gust still on cooldown.
Yeah, and keep in mind that was a 4 versus 5, and we saw 3 ults used on the side of Tempo Storm. Meanwhile, on the other half, there was only, what was it, Ancestral Healing was the only ultimate blown at that time. So really well done on their part. Patience with the ultimates, making the smart decision. Tomster getting the flank on the back line, getting a lot of poke, and then deciding to walk away, saying, hey, we can't really win this fight, and they end up coming out a win on the heroic situation. Now, this is where the phase for this night is going to be very crucial for both these teams. They both have pressure pushing elsewhere on the map, but more importantly than that, Tempo Storm has a 40 seed lead. This is going to be interesting. How well are they going to be able to capitalize on this? The fight, they're so close to 16 here, Jake. This is going to get tense.
Both teams very, very close to level 16. It's a mercenary camp advantage to Tempo Storm, and Stray bowling them on this point, but Soldier taking so much damage, barrel out, but then we do see the Gust has been cast, but Tomster is looking for the go for the dirt, trying to get forward with the Unfettered Assault. He disengages. Gilnean Cocktail is available, but he hasn't cast it, and Soldier does manage to dodge. We do see Stray able to disengage, but great just hesitation by Soldier getting behind that tower.
No, it was really well done. He actually, avoiding the situation of the tower, so the proc wouldn't get onto him from the Q coming out from the Greymane there to secure the kill. 16 tier is going to be picked up for them, our King of Blade Alpha right now. They are actually, because of that skirmish, a little bit slow on the rotations here. You see that they want the fight here. Yeah. They know Tempo Storm's down here, and they're making this aggressive rotation. Look at the Q damage coming out from Greymane in this fight. It's going to be crucial to their success.
Okay, 16 on both teams. They're engaging hard. Stray still on the point of the boss, and as it expires, many of the seeds will be stolen. Mighty Gauss has been cast, and Tempo just got exactly enough seeds for themselves to get that plant terror, and they just disengaged, not getting greedy.
I think that's a pretty telling sign, though, when it comes to Tempo Storm
Yeah,
on how they view their composition. They are not willing to take this blow for blow. They're like, yeah, we'll take the terror, and then we're just going to kind of move away from you guys because you're scary. They didn't even throw out a single flask on the side of Greymane, and so now they're going to decide to make the rotation up here, but the Rue coming out not being capitalized on the side of Tempo Storm. Saray taking a lot of damage, Jake.
Uh-oh, Saray does need to get out of there. He's cast the Entomb at that last moment in a two-man maul, but there is no follow-up. The disengage is here. Zix in the front line with a single poly, but again, Tomster actually going to get barely not rooted by the boss. Going in deep, doing a ton of damage, takes out KO, but not before he falls himself. 2 for 1 in favor of King of Blades Alpha, but they do not have enough seeds for themselves to get that plant terror, and this terror of Goku is doing so much.
Yeah, they're going to try and use that as essentially like a double hero. Dark Chimera getting poked out. He has Ancestral. It's going to hit. He will survive in this type of situation. That is going to keep him alive enough to be able to contest this. Keep in mind, Tempo Storm is not going to get another terror. They're essentially suiciding their terror right now. Meanwhile, King of Blades Alpha has the opportunity to get one.
Big Queen's Curse on the collusion, but he's getting body blocked into the wall. Saray's waiting to respond, but the Mosh on 2 targets. The follow-up not quite here. Queen's Curse will be cast. No, not in time for the interrupt, and they do lose more members here. Brightwing is down. The strafe of Goku as he disengages from the terror. Gonna be enough for him to escape here, but the plant terror will be picked up for King of Blades.
Absolutely, and the decision-making coming out from Kings of Blade Alpha and Tempo Storm, honestly. Tempo Storm deciding to try and take that fight, even though they lost 2 of their members there with that Garden Terror. Rather than trying to split push, they essentially allowed King of Blades Alpha to not risk anything. They didn't lose a single structure with the Terror, and they allowed them to capture the Terror on their half right now. And not only that, I just feel like overall their composition cannot take the direct team fight into Kings of Blade Alpha, so this is looking very, very rough for them. Mid-keep is already a quarter of the health down. It's going to be sitting at 75%, and the Terror is going to be picked up 14 minutes into this game here on the side of, King of Blades Alpha.
Tomster is just so scary. I mean, this Gilnean cocktail, poke, 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 and then he knows exactly when to go in, and just that unfettered assault for the additional range on his swipe is doing so much damage in every fight.
I mean, absolutely. He's a great Greymane player here. Now they're going to get that siege up. I think you can 100% expect them to be looking to get a keep here. If they manage to get this one keep, they'll probably back out, take bottom fort, and look on the bottom keep front wall here, largely because the pressure on the upper half of the map that they have going for them. The race to 20 is going to be easily won on their front, and now it's going to be the poke game. This is where Tempo Storm's composition really suffers, is when they're in this position that,
defensive posture is just not good for them.
Absolutely, but guess who's in the Terror?
That is Tomster, so they don't have that big burst damage of the Greymane.
Yeah,
so that is a bit of a mistake in some ways, but this is still a big position here for King of Blades Alpha to try to capitalize on. You see how low that keep is already, down to half of its HP, Dread.
Yeah, if Tempo Storm's going to win a fight, this is it, honestly. Without having Greymane up, this is one of the highest chances they're going to succeed to getting a fight, honestly.
All right, well, they're looking for their opportunity for the big Entomb. Saray constantly throwing Drain Hope on the Plant Terror, but the poke has been successful. Disintegrate will burn through the final, or the middle keep here on the side of Tempo, throwing at the Queen's Curse, only connecting on exactly no one. And now Tempo can look to bite back.
Yeah, and the dance around here, they do manage to get a keep. That's a huge win when it comes to this map here. Now backing out, they only have 35 seconds. I'm a little surprised they didn't decide to go with the 4. Instead, they say, hey, we're going to back out clear on top. But now a really aggressive rotation to get a pick on Saray here.
Oh, the Entomb with the poly. Where's the teleport? She gets it just at the last moment, so a bit of a misplace, throwing that much out on a hero that can teleport to safety.
Oh, no, he's going to actually look to rotate towards mid here. He's got nothing. He can't go to core. He only has 17 seconds left. So he is going to be rotating down to try and take this fight. But, oh, man, so close to 20. If Tempo Storm's able to force a fight before King of Blades Alpha gets to 20 here, yeah, they're taking really risky positioning on the side of Tomster.
Okay, this Greymane doesn't not have the best disengage capability, but they might be trying to bait as the rest of the team is nearby. They're looking to put their presence into the top lane, and level 20 is around the corner for King of Blades Alpha.
Absolutely. Now they're in a situation where the harassment on the upper half is going to be taking out that front wall. 20 is achieved. Oh, the poke is real, and their
mirror ball is so ridiculous.
And they're in a situation where compositionally on the back foot, Tempo Storm doesn't do that well.
Li Ming. No, no, don't. It hurts me. It hurts me to watch that.
I feel your pain, I promise. So we're in a situation. 20 advantage, expect the team fight. Look at the poke. Look at that harass. Oh, yeah, Brightwing has no ability to heal that up, guys. Mirror Ball going to keep coming out. That is a very, very short cooldown on the side of Tomster. Keep in mind, he will be making a lot of effort when it comes to that. It's going to be every 8 seconds he's going to be able to throw that out.
Well, suddenly this keep that I thought was perfectly safe is now been whittled down to almost nothing from the Greymane and the Li Ming poke. These two heroes in the chain lightnings of Talking Trees really showing the impact of this style of just whittling down your opponents. And ETC power sliding right on into Goku, forcing out that bolt of the Storm at the start of the moment they have 20, he has to bolt. That is awful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Soldier's been split pushing this entire time, getting the front wall just as well. Not getting as much split push as he would, or as of King of Blades Alpha managed to get, but it's pretty close to even now. Both of these teams almost dead even on the seeds. Whoever gets the Terror first gets to dictate the direction that the fight is going to take. If King of Blades Alpha is able to get in the Terror before their opponents, they're going to be in a very advantageous situation here, Jake. Fighting on your opponent's side of the game is going to almost always lead to lethal when it comes to this map.
In a lot of these situations, I almost just wish we had Peekaboo. I mean, the Arcane Flare has gotten them, or the Barrage got them a couple kills.
Look at that
but without Peekaboo, they don't know where they are, and Sray just gets melted like he's nothing.
It's one of those situations where we were talking about it. It's just like you have that much harass, you have solo tank Leoric, and you're just like, oh, well, don't worry, our front line will be able to do it. And then you're just like, oh, wait, free reset, please? Thank you.
Well, let's just kill the seeds and walk away.
So now, they're in a situation where it's actually going to be really, really close here. They're not going to confirm the Terror quite yet. So I would like to see on the side of King of Blades Alpha is them getting the Terror instantly. So they have 14 seconds, not Tomster. They need the poke. What they need to do is try and put somebody who has least effectiveness when it comes to their team fight. Honestly, I put Thrall.
Yeah, Thrall.
Like, I feel like they're or Li Ming, one of the two. I just do not put Tomster into the Terror here. If they get in the Terror and now position themselves on the opponent's side of the map, dance around a little bit, force them to come out, get 1 pick, 1 to 2 picks, and they're going to be able to end the game here. This is a huge winning situation on the side of King of Blades Alpha. If they do not walk away with a keep minimum, I just don't see a situation where they don't. They have the team fight advantage over Tempo Storm. They've established dominance throughout the entire game. This is the point where they can end it.
Well, they've been called the Dark Horse many times, but here they are up against Tempo Storm well ahead. They've taken out a keep. The top keep is very low, and they're grabbing that Plant Terror. This is only game number 1, but they're looking for a potential lethal push.
Here they go. They're going to be moving in. Keep in mind, Fawcett has shown in the upper half of the map, Zagara and him are making a little bit of slow rotation. They do come in here. Epic Mount coming into play there at level 20. Nothing too crazy when it does come to level 20s here. Okay, so Trees needs to make sure that stays as healthy as possible. He can't risk any of the HP this far away from the core. Notice how Tempo's fighting away from the core. That's really good.
Ziggs got completely chunked down. This lone support Brightwing forcing him to an incredibly safe posture, phase shifting in, giving that shield to Soldier, who they use the Mighty Gauss on immediately, but they've just spent so much and they took so much damage on top of it.
Yeah, they definitely took too much harassment, and they're still looking for core, even though it's only got 25% health. This is going to be crucial. Here comes the Entomb. Not quite yet. There it goes. The Entomb's going to be locked in here, Jake.
The strafe is good. It's doing a lot of damage, but it's not enough. Sray gets melted like he's nothing. Tomster just dashing in. There goes KO on Zagara. The Maw is not going to be enough for this defense. A 3v5, but we do see Li Ming gets burst down. So a nice win, and the Ancestral Heal does not connect them. Greymane. Tempo Storm suddenly biting on back. The core shields are holding, but the Mosh Pit on 2 targets. The blink into the fight, not able to secure the poly, and King of Blades Alpha should be able to end it here.
Yeah, that's it. He still has Ancestral Healing on cooldown, so keep in mind he will be able to do it himself. The shields are down 97%. That's going to be it. There's no hope. There's no Gus. There's no way he can do it. Sray is not going to be able to survive here, Jake. That's going to be it. Kings of Blade Alpha is going to take game number 1 here against Tempo Storm.
What a Cinderella story. Tempo Storm, one of the oldest brands and heroes of the Storm. The Ancestral Heal connects, and the core has fallen. I can hear their battle cries from across the studio.
Absolutely. I mean, well deserved, honestly. I mean, I've said it enough, and I don't think I'm going to harp on it anymore. I just feel like they had the better comp, and it wasn't even close.
This is an elimination match, Dreadnought.
Absolutely.
The team that falls here loses their chance to move on to playoffs, and they lose their chance for going to Worlds later this year in Korea. This match means so much.
Absolutely. No, yeah, and it's the composure that Tempo Storm's going to have to show to maybe come back from this is going to be huge here. But you see in the upper half of the map here, Sray going in, trying to make something happen, getting the Entomb out, but look at this. Now, Greymane wasn't even in that situation. It was a 4 versus 5, and then they're able to still turn this. Look at good job dodging the root there and then going on the back line, going 1 for 1 here, but just Sray taking so much damage, falling out there. It just shows like how weak that frontline Leoric really is.
I don't think Tomster ever went in without at least trading. He was always trading effectively no matter what, doing huge poke before the fight and just maximizing that Greymane. Look at this. The magic missiles and then the power slide from Collusion and of course Li Ming. It's just crazy, crazy burst potential on that team.
No, the double reset with the poke is great, and it was against legitimately probably the best healer minus a solo Tacet support that you could run that style composition. And the Tempo Storm didn't win the early game, and they definitely aren't going to win the late game with a poor healer against that style of composition, and with essentially 2 late game scaling heroes, they have no chance to just dominate the early game and make it a close game.
Well, I cannot believe this is happening. I'm so excited to see a team come out here. I mean, qualifying in the last qualifier, the 4th qualifier, everyone's saying they're a dark horse. No one expected them to make a big splash in the scene, but suddenly they're on match point to advance into playoffs.
Absolutely, and I mean, they've done a really good job, and it's well-deserved, to say the least. That composition was very, very good, very well thought out on their half. You can tell that they understood what they wanted to do in the draft here. Map-wise, we do know we're going to be going in game number 2 between these two. It's going to be on Infernal Shrines. I really would be interested on who decided to actually pick that Garden of Terror map. If that was something that Kings of Blade just felt like Temple Storm was severely weak at, and it might be the case here, but Infernal Shrines being more and more common in the North American scene.
Well, this could be one of those situations where we see a hero like Cho'Gall picked up. We saw Temple Storm use Cho'Gall to great success yesterday versus Naventic. But I'm curious exactly how they're going to approach this. That draft definitely seemed unorthodox, to say the least, with the lone Brightwing.
Yeah,
and the lonely Yorick.
I think it would have been a decent approach to the game if there wasn't so much poke sitting on the opponent's side. Pairing the Brightwing without really almost any reason really is kind of pulling away from Temple Storm here. If they're able to adjust in the draft, though, we're going to have to figure it out. This might be the situation that we see last game where maybe Kings of Blades is going to win the draft so hard that there's almost no coming back here. So here we go. Game number 1, Temple Storm, or 2, excuse me. Temple Storm's going to look for the ban. We know Zeratil's a hot topic. We know that both of these teams are very, like, they're essentially going to force King of Blades into a Zeratil ban. I don't think there's any way they don't force them into that. And if they don't, the Temple Storm will first pick Zeratil, I think, with no hesitation.
I like the call a lot. Temple Storm, what do they do? Are they going to stick to... Will they ban Zeratil themselves? No. Falstad, that big global presence hero, the power of Mighty Gust, just removing that and forcing out a Zeratil ban. Rhaegar would enable Cho'Gall for their next pick if they did go for it.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a Rhaegar pickup. I don't think see really any other reason or any other pick here.
And not to say they have to go Cho'Gall. Of course, there's many options that are on the table, but This is something that they did see great success with yesterday.
Yeah, it's a game that we were able to take off an Naventic there with that kind of strategy, and Rhaegar really helps with that, as you were talking about. He helps for a lot of strategies, honestly. Not only is he just like a great hero, more than anything, he's just diverse, right? So he helps other heroes become even better and better, which is why he's such a good first pick. You don't always have to pick the most broken hero. Sometimes just the one that makes other heroes that much better is all good as well. So Rhaegar going to be locked in. King of Blades Alpha, what are they going to be responding with? Thrall Leeming, legitimately zero hesitation there. They know what they're going to be doing. So are they going to take the Cho'Gall before the second ban phase, or are they not worried about it? Is Temple going to clutch onto it?
Well, they could force the ban. They could still try to grab something like Tassadar here and then go for that late game Illidan. You were talking about the power of Illidan on maps like this in particular, where the safe zone
he
is far away.
He does do well on large maps, you are right. The one thing that he really suffers with, though, if you decide to go that, is wave clear. It's absolutely crucial to success on this map.
Decent, but
it's not enough, and he has to put himself in a pretty risky situation. It's not, but also it makes it to the late game, and Illidan does pretty well with the kind of skirmishes when the map is very wide open and things. So I can see them going with it. There's a lot of options, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cho'Gall, just because I feel like when you win against a team that you consider to be one of the favorites here coming into this tournament with the strategy, I feel like you're going to hold that on when your back is against the wall. That's kind of going to be your go-to, and I think they're going to pick it here, honestly. I don't think it's right, but I think they will.
What do you think the chance? I mean, if they don't go Greymane, you think they could ban Greymane?
Temple Storm is yet to show a single Greymane game.
So if they don't, so it's no Cho'Gall confirmed. Jaina has been picked up.
Please tell me it's going to be paired with Sonya. Somebody else needs to pick Sonya in this type of situation.
I'm feeling Muradin, just knowing Temple Storm, and that's a little bit more of a normal thing. I don't know. Have they played Sonya once?
No other team.
They were making Sonya sounds during the last draft, but
I mean, please?
Just the mind games.
I guess. I really need to hear it here coming out from them.
But the Rhaegar Jaina Muradin has been so common for so many teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw even Cloud9 decided to make that rotation as well.
Yeah.
We saw as it goes, there
she
locked in.
Making
I really
Dreadnought
like
happy.
that pickup. Yeah, I think that their composition now is far stronger than their last one was.
Already. With 3 heroes. They don't even need 5.
They honestly, yeah, it's one of those situations where at least their trio is so powerful they can pick almost anything else that kind of just fills a role, and they're going to be decent composition. So now I think King of Blades Alpha has a lot of things that they need to think about on what's good and bad in the rest of the draft. I don't think we can expect a Cho'Gall, but it might be an option here. They might look for the ban.
Yeah, if they're still scared, it's not necessarily out of the realm of possibilities for Temple Storm. Cho'Gall is a warrior and an assassin all in one, and they've already got the support with a pseudo-warrior and a ranged assassin. So it definitely could fit with what they have, but is KoB actually worried about that?
I don't honestly know what they're worried about. I think 0.0% chance this isn't a Greymane, man.
They are indeed
like,
worried.
It's just, it's got to be Greymane. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, I would.
There's no way you let this through.
Li Ming, Greymane did too much in that last game. The double reset, the double burst power, and just the poke they had to whittle down Templestorm slowly. Sure, Rhaegar will deal with it better than Brightwing could.
This could be a huge turning point in the draft. If Templestorm doesn't feel the same way and it ends up being as powerful as it was last game, I mean, that could be it. That could be this could be the situation right here. And draft-wise, at least, that might be able to send him home.
The only other option I could think they might be considering for the ban would be
through.
Tassadar, but they go for Medic as the ban.
I don't think there's any chance Greymane doesn't make it through on the pick right here.
Yeah,
I think it's just going to be Greymane ETC right out the gates. I just feel like it may be a Murden. I wouldn't doubt a Murden either, but I think they're just going to pick those two on the side of King of Blades Alpha. Templestorm then looking for kind of a response there. They have a lot of different routes they can go. It could be TAS and then a tank, and they can do a lot of different things after that. But
I think they have to. If they let Greymane through, they need the double support.
They're calling them out. They're saying you can't play Greymane.
They grab their comfort picks. I mean, not only is Greymane like not great for Templestorm, but that's KO's comfort pick of Zagara, which like we're looking for in the late end of the draft and for that big solo laner. And we see Johanna played by Soray so very frequently.
I see what you're doing, King of Blades Alpha, but I feel like this is the worst draft to be pulling that out on. Templestorm just showed they're over what they've been doing. They just picked they're the first team to just be like, hey, Sonya might be a thing outside of the top two, debatably. And they show, and then now you're like, guess what? We're gonna take away what you're used to. And it's like, what? Like if you opened it with that, Stitch is gonna be picked up. I like that pickup.
That's
really great.
Tassadar for the vision.
Tas is gonna be a great synergy, and then it also works with both Sonya, Jaina. It just works out up front. He's a great pick. It provides wave clear. There's a lot of awesome things. He's not a must-have, but he definitely is a good answer here when it comes to the comp for Templestorm. But I don't know. King of Blades Alpha seemed like they got pretty clever there. Oh, Lunara, man, for the nature calling. Forgot she was even a thing.
All right, well, Templestorm, a much better draft than last game, I would say. A big, heavy front line with Stitches, and, of course, Sonya. And the control they have with the Putrid Bile with that Whirlwind on Sonya can just be absolutely monstrous to deal with. King of Blades Alpha, they need a support. There will not be a Greymane in this game. But what support will it be? I mean, don't tempt them, honestly. Like, with how good the Greymane Li Ming went last game, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They pull a Cloud9, they say, we don't need a certain role. It'll be support today. We'll just go for the double reset. We've seen it.
We have. I don't know if I agree with it. I think most likely Morales would have been their best pickup. Good ban from Templestorm in their half there. And now Kings of Blade Alpha is really trying to figure out what they want to be going. I think they're going to be looking, I just really hope it's not a Malfurion. And if it is a Malfurion, please take the Rampant Growth at 4. I think that's an absolute must in these type of situations.
Confirm that Dreadnought wants to destroy the wild.
It's Malfurion, so it is going to be it. I really think that it's all going to come down to these talent picks. We saw it twice yesterday where Malfurion ended up not taking it, and then you're just walking Tranquility that had no opportunity to deal with the damage from Lunara. It's a soft response to her, but realistically it just felt like a lot of the teams didn't build him to be able to deal with her. It was just like, we're going to take it to deal with Lunara, but then we're going to like take talents that don't deal with Lunara. So it's like picking Malf in this situation and then going Twilight Dream. Like you're going to pick it for the healing, but then you don't pick the healing. So it's going to be interesting to see how well it's going to be played out on the side of King of Blades Alpha.
The other thing is like both these teams have a good potential when it comes to racing over the Immortals, but like just the huge damage of Sonya and Lunara, once they hit level 7, Tempo is going to burn that Immortal like it's nothing.
Excuse me, it's the map should be Infernal Shrines here, so the shrines,
my apologies.
But even then, they'll burn the shrines too, so you're not wrong. It's like on all fronts, they're just going to dominate when it comes to map objective. But looking at this draft compared to what we saw in the first one, where do you fall? If you have to pick a team here, Jake, what are you going with when it comes to the draft?
Considering I blundered and I was thinking that we were going to Battlefield of Eternity that entire time, let me reevaluate this for a moment.
All right, so we have Jaina. All right, here we go. These are the compositions here. We're going to have Sonya is going to be played by Goku. Saray will be on that Stitch. Zix is going to be on the Rhaegar. KO will be playing Jaina, and Soldier once again will be on the Lunara.
And their opponents, King of Blade Alpha, up 1-0 with Talking Trees on Li Ming. Collusion playing by Johanna. Going to be Dark Chimera on Malfurion. Frozen X playing Zagara. And Tomster, the legendary Greymane, on Thrall this time. here on Infernal Shrines. We are loading on in 1-0 lead here for King of Blades Alpha. Tempo Storm, can they bring it back?
Back against the wall, everything out on the line here from Tempo Storm. Much better composition, in my opinion, here coming from that team. I think they're going to be able to play it out a lot better here in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of ultimates they want to move around with a little bit here. I think with Jaina, you're going to see a pretty standard style comp. Also, like I said, Malfurion talents are going to be crucial to be looking at 4 and 7 specifically. If he does not look to be at least rampant growth and enduring growth, I think is also very complementary. But they're going to be crucial to the success of the team fight in this game. King of Blades, wow, 65% after that showing. I don't blame you.
All right, so to respond to your question, who do I think has the better composition? Really, I just look at King of Blades Alpha, and their comp is all about initiation. Their poke is much less powerful in this composition, and it's about big Sunderings with the Blessed Shield and the Maw to kind of find that control. If they can't get big Maws to buy time for the Tranquility in fights as well, I mean, I don't see them winning this just because the threat of hooks and just the late game damage of that Lunara is going to be too much for Malfurion.
I agree.
So it's all about getting a big early game on the side of King of Blades.
I agree with you. I think initiation is absolutely crucial. Overall, I definitely like Tempo Storm's draft a little bit more, but I do agree with you. It's a far closer draft than the last one, to say the least.
I think it's harder to initiate for King of Blades than Tempo Storm's.
Huge hook, though. The follow-up's going to be in there. Root coming out. It's going to keep him alive here. Tempo Storm backing out a little bit. KO getting caught, though, taking a lot of damage.
Huge body blocks there. The Chain Lightning barely not clutching the kill, and the Feral Lunge from Zix almost takes out Tomster. So a very even trade there from both sides.
Yeah, and the wave clear coming out here now. You see them trying to run this 1-4 between the two lanes. Goku getting a little bit of harass in the upper half of the map, but he's not going to be hurt too much there. Honestly, taking the minions there hurt him a little bit more than just that Hydralisk there. So a good lane for him. Not necessarily one that he's going to win very hard by any means, but he will be able to compete with that Zagara, such a dominant hero in the laning phase.
All right, in terms of talents, we do see block once again for Sonya, just respecting the threat that exists on Thrall and Zagara when they do those big autos. Beyond that, pretty darn standard stuff. I mean, Moonburn going to really help with that lane clear. I like this by Tomster, just waiting. If Goku uses that Ancient Spear to go in, he's going to be so very vulnerable, and Tomster will be able to pick up a kill.
You see, and they're zoning off of XP. For those who don't know, the distance for soaking XP is the distance of vision provided within the hero. So you can see that because Goku can't see the minions from his own character model, he's not gaining any of the XP at that time there. So zoning off the XP, really well done, giving him his team a small of an advantage on the upper half of the map there. And now they're going to see a heavy rotation to mid. This will be a 5 versus 4 if it happens quite yet, but we saw Tempo Storm on this map. They gave up the first 2 shrines. They didn't even look at him the first time that they played this map yesterday. But now, they have a different approach to the game here with this composition. They're going to stick with it.
Yeah, another big strength here for Stitches, just once we hit level 7, Last Bite really gives them so much sustain when fighting over these shrines, just because the reset that you have from killing those minions left and right with your E really does add up and make him very hard to eliminate. And of course, that poison, the bile that drops on the ground, does pick up last skills once in a while when you're fighting over these shrines.
Yeah, really good route, though. The Stray taking an absurd amount of damage.
So low.
Yeah, and Collusion pulling in as well, trying to confirm that kill. Both teams barely going down, but Soldier taking a lot of damage. The health bar is falling far more on the side of Tempo Storm here for the time being. Both teams backing out, trying to tap both dead. Even 2020, Jake. This is his first shrine. Is going to be very close, but keep in mind, Goku has been top the entire time.
Yeah, that's really going to start to help Tempo Storm edge on out, especially the longer this goes. The big orb coming out from Limi, taking a few of those skulls away, giving the edge to King of Blades Alpha. Just 4 more away. They should be able to get the first Punisher of the game, and we see Tempo Storm has decided to back away, realizing if they caught out of position and the Punisher jumps on them, it could be lights out.
Yeah, I think that was a really smart call on their part. I do think they risked a little bit too much when it came to the root and Saray almost falling down, understanding it was a 5 versus 4 the entire time. Baited over the wall. Now there it goes. Nothing too crazy. Just getting the clear, getting the front wall attempt here. Both these teams playing very, very standard when it comes to the map, but Tempo Storm trying to soak up a little bit more in the upper half of the map, and they walk away with essentially 0 XP advantage over their opponents. If anything, they're behind now. So it's going to be whether or not they decide to do that for the second rotation, keeping up this strategy when it seems to not be working as well as it had yesterday.
Yeah, but level 7, they get such a big power spike. I mean, as long as they're on even footing when it comes to 7, I think things are going to look quite nice for them.
Yeah, and we see level 4, Malfurion, he decides to take the rampant growth here, going to be producing 50% bonus healing onto his Q there to be able to deal with that spread Lunar damage at 7 if he does go enduring. It definitely will be able to amplify the damage, the healing output from him. to try and deal with that late game spread-oriented damage that she can do.
It's critical.
Yeah, it's critical. It is absolutely critical. Either that or we can get that Lily hype again. I mean, we can talk about that a little bit, you know?
We haven't seen Lily yet, but I believe you. I believe that there is hope for the Lily Master. Adventure time could happen. We do see cleanse there for the Rhaegar. We do have that last bite for Stitches, and of course, Nature's Culling on Lunara makes her ferocious when it comes to fighting over the shrines and pushing into the structures.
Yeah, both these teams going head to head.
They forced them back. This is big for Tempo.
Yeah, I think that was more of just playing it safe rather than like understanding they were in an advantageous or disadvantaged situation there. Honestly, like, what did Tempo really gain? Not too much. What does King of Blades lose? Not too much, really.
They gained dominance on the map.
But Soldier overextending a little bit there. The slow going to come out. No body block. The root, though, kind of barely missed there.
You know, if Tomster hadn't whiffed his Wolf, Cadet would have connected no matter what. Dead. So a bit of a misplay by Tomster there, honestly.
Yeah, no, it absolutely was a missed skill shot, which led to the survival of Soldier on their part. But they're going to be able to survive and get a camp here. The camp will be, again, same strategy we saw from Tempo Storm yesterday. They timed the camp, pushing into the lane where the shrine's going to be spawned in the upper half of the map here. Now going to be forcing their opponent to try and get it clear and use Lunar to get a little bit of poke. But look at Soldier, hasn't made a rotation on the bottom half of the map yet. He's staying for this wave.
Well, with Nature's Culling, I mean, the threat certainly exists. So even if this Punisher is picked up successfully by King of Blades Alpha, Soldier could easily win out his own tower. He's just kind of poking in, making sure he's safe, actually looking to potentially rotate all the way up.
Yeah, he is. He's
very odd
mid.
decision. Two waves, or is he doing a full soak?
He's soaking mid as well, so he's going to make that, and then he's going to try and contest the objective. So Tempo Storm deciding to not give up, but the race to 10 is really close here. They do have a 20 advantage, keep in mind. Oh, Soldier actually backing out in that rotation, getting zoned out. Really good job on the side of Frozen X, but they are down about 15 here. And the race to 10 is going to be very close. Whoever gets the first pick is going to get a huge power spike in the race to 10 here, Jake.
All right, well, we do see Soldier looking for the fight. The hook does go in onto trees, and he gets pulled back on in. No, a nice Soldier. Heal there at the last minute. And the heal's coming out once again from Zix to top off the team. 12-25 in favor of Tempo Storm for the defender count there on this top shrine for the Mortar Punisher. But can they re-engage successfully? Stray should have that hook back available, and he'll be looking for a prime target like Frozen X.
Really aggressive rotation by Collusion. Their Iron Skin is going to be coming out. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Ray trying to get onto Tomster, and both teams kind of dancing around each other really heavily. That's the enduring growth and the rampant growth coming out from the side of the hook.
The
barely
bucket
missing.
doesn't connect.
Look at the health bars, though. Overall, Tempo Storm is slowly falling behind because Zix can't keep up with that until he gets tidal wave. He has no competition, but Collusion.
Oh, nice roots there, keeping Collusion alive, and we do see the Wisp will scout out the location there. Once again, Stray can start looking for that hook. 16-second cooldown available again, but Tempo Storm having the edge on this Punisher. They will get the second Punisher of the game.
Absolutely, and now they're going to barely win on 10 here, but it's not going to be very much. You see the rotation soaking from Collusion on all the other parts of the map. Neither team going to get too big of a lead at this point. Tempo Storm's going to say, hey, we're going to stay and force this fort here, even though they have Jaina soaking in the mid lane. She actually shows herself too, so they know that there's only 4 people on the upper half of the map here.
All right, some pretty standard pickups for all of those heroics. Just watch for the Putrid Biles for the engages and disengages, because paired with Sonya, that is a heavy, heavy amount of damage that you will be taking.
Yeah, it definitely is, and especially with Jaina not being with them, though. Jaina's welly is so hard to deal with. The chase potential that comes out of that water elemental with Sonya chasing him down. I do agree with you very much so there, but they're going to play it safe. Try and get a little bit of the fort, a little bit of harassment, then back out. Make sure you get the mercenaries, paint the map your color, and just try and essentially get the pressure, get the poke, make a bad rotation out of your opponents.
Well, you'll notice Tempo, with those rotations in the other lanes during the Punisher they picked up, has granted them a nice experience lead, about a quarter level so far, but as they're grabbing all these mercenaries, they can translate the experience even further forward if they can try to snowball it into the structures.
Yeah, and here we go. We see a little bit of a skirmish on the bottom half. KO with a really aggressive flank here. They don't see them. Welly coming out very early to try and make something happen here. The great route, though. Dark Chimera is not going to the gate, though. He's going to be one dead. Oh, Tranquility coming out really early here,
As
Jake.
well as Putrid Bile, it goes down actually to get Stray back in position. He can look for that hook aggressively over the wall, but Collusion body blocking nicely. But when the Iron Skin wasn't popped, he uses it afterwards to disengage. Now they're re-engaging. The roots connecting there on Stray, and Central has to be used, topping him off nicely. And Tempo can look to re-engage onto this also.
Absolutely, and now it's a really using the Tranquility to keep himself alive is going to be okay for now. Whether or not the map objective spawns during that duration of time that it's off cooldown is going to be absolutely crucial. Malfurion's a very hard team fighting hero when you do not have at least 16 or unless you have Tranquility, largely because the duration of his cooldown with how much healing it does, it just feels like he cannot output enough healing to help with those team fights. So keeping track of that cooldown for Tranquility is absolutely crucial here. Race to 13, Tempo Storm barely winning it here, backing out, getting soaked. The Shaman camp now spawning. It wouldn't be surprised if Tempo prioritizes that since the map objective spawns on the lower half. Shaman's pushing top is a huge power play.
All
there
right.
they go.
Yeah, they're getting in position Rhaegar and or just Jaina now. Maybe just Sonya. No, they're actually throwing everyone down to the shrine, realizing they want a strong start to it. Sonya, of course, can solo that relatively quickly, but they're just saying it's not worth the risk as they'll have the level 13 talent tier advantage for a short while.
I think you can expect to see KO trying to abuse Fog of War as best as possible to get a really aggressive flank here. So watch his positioning when it comes to these team fights.
Okay, level 13 picked up. Everyone has their talents. The power spike is here, and Sundering just on Sonya. Ancestral Heal going to be needed to top him off, but where is it? It is going to cool down for one more second, but Thrall gets burned down by Srey in the front. Future Battle having a huge impact, but a three-man Maw coming down, but Talking Trees not able to survive collusion, running away from Goku. The slam takes him out, and even with a huge Maw, they just cannot capitalize off it.
Yeah, I really just feel like Tempo Storm with that deep flank, Jaina getting a lot of slow out there on his opponents. The heavy aggression to move in there just really showed how strong their composition is going to be, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I think it's just going to keep scaling harder and harder and harder into the later half of this game as Lunar begins to build a little bit of power here, Jake. So now, yes, they are going to get the map objective. They're going to wait on it a little bit here. All right, so they're going to decide to back out, try and get some Merc pressure. I'm guessing that's going to be abuse of Shamans on the upper half of the map.
Yeah, look at this Glass Cannon. We talked about the power of Li Ming. Glass Cannon was picked up.
Okay.
Yeah, they solved it for a little bit.
They wanted to get the tap, make sure everybody was in position to help. All right.
All right, so Glass Cannon on Li Ming makes her, well, she makes her a lot squishier, so she becomes a little bit more of a risk to have in your team, but she does so much damage, 15% less health, 15% more ability power.
Yeah, and now we see this is where I am a little bit disappointed here in the decision-making coming out from the Malfurion playboy here. Dark Chimera actually runs into taking at 13 tier. He does not go Ice Block, leaving him very susceptible to that hook. If he gets hooked, he has to pop Tranquility. He has to. He doesn't have Ice Block. He doesn't have any opportunity to delay or anything else. So he is now a very, very high value hook situation. Now they're trying to force the fight before their opponents get 16 here. But Tempo Storm most likely going to disengage. They have very good disengage here. They don't need to risk it. Look at KO again with that aggressive flanking. Expect that the whole game to provide a better engage opportunity and enabling Sonya to just come in and smash your face with her ultimate pop.
Especially if they rotate two heroes up to try to deal with Jaina. She can pop Ice Block while there's a huge response. Rhaegar runs up with the Ancestral Heal. I mean, it's just a really, really powerful hero for that style of play.
Yeah, and that Ice Block pickup there is it's a situation where it's really, it helps when you dance around your opponent for long periods of time, right? It's going to really help dealing with the Lunara damage. The problem is Stitches loves when you dance around at a distance for long periods of time. He loves that. He's just like, so you're going to give me more than one hook chance?
Yay!
The dream? And so that talent really kind of just makes Stitches a little bit stronger.
That's true.
Overall here, but now you see the rotation. Tempo Storm abusing the 16 advantage here, taking out the mid fort.
And Fishing Hook, now that the threat of Stitches has amplified significantly in this game, that's something they really have to consider just because the number of opportunities have just exactly doubled for Stitches.
Yeah, absolutely here. Nothing crazy when it comes to the talents at 16 tier from Tempo Storm. Northern Exposure instead of Root, so he's worried more about enabling Sonya to come in and smash a little bit more rather than getting those back pick flanks on his own. Shaman's camp's going to be picked up for Tempo Storm, split pushing the upper half of the map. That will confirm at least a fort here just because how powerful it is. And both teams going blow for blow, but Soldier maybe getting caught out by Root. Oh, barely juking on the bottom half of the map there. Really good job. He is going to have the wave clear, but Collusion says, we don't care. We know we're outnumbering you. We're going to take this, go blow for blow, which is it's an advantage for them because they aren't 16.
Yeah, blow for blow going to help them catch up for sure, but Tempo Storm will remove the final remaining fort here on the side of King of Blades Alpha, and it looks like they want to pressure this top fort, or the top keep walled. One tower guaranteed to go down here, but maybe looking for two. Maw could be a massive threat if they're not careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually taking that camp, in my opinion, Tempo Storm should have 100% taken that front wall knowing that they took the camp. See, they still haven't shown. They thought they were going to back up and they were going to worry about it, but they haven't shown. The minute you see that they are actually on that camp as well, I think Tempo would be a little bit more aggressive, but that is not the case now. Now allowing them to hit 16, this fight is going to be absolutely crucial on the success of these two teams. Watch out for the hooks here, and Sunder for the split in this chokehold. Also, Chaos positioning on the flank. Notice he's mounting up. He's going to back out. He's going to break line of sight. He wants to abuse Fog of War as best as possible to help that Sonya enable her to be a very big powerhouse here, but Thompson with the flank.
All right, but King of Blades Alpha did get the mercenary camps in bottom and mid, so if this is drawn out, that does work nicely for them to try to catch up in experience in this game. A full up down with the hook there onto Thompson. The burst not sufficient, and the heals come out from Malfurion. A beautiful blizzard raining down, and the interrupt there at the last moment before Sunder connects, but it does go into the back. Maw on 0 targets, a huge Ancestral onto Saray, and it's just a big team fight win for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, and that was honestly a great hook to confirm the kill there. Goku just needs his 5. This is going to give them a huge advantage here over their opponents. I wouldn't be surprised if Tempo Storm actually didn't confirm this Immortal, just because of how big of a lead they have on it. I would see them get to 39, look out to push out the keep, look to do anything. Honestly, win the race to 20 before you capture it. They don't really need to force this map objective. Wait till they get the biggest advantage they can possibly get over their opponents, soaking all the side lanes there. We'll see if that's what they decide. No, they lock it in. All right, so they're going to wait for the race to 20 a little bit later than that. But what I wanted to talk about, you were talking about that Maw whiffing. It was actually a stack. He Mawed, and then Sunder came right out on top, splitting and making it to where they weren't able to hit anybody. So definitely hurt them a lot there in the team fight on King of Blades.
Well, we talked about those mercenary camps before the fight, and they are still at large. The bottom lane completely pushed out with the Khazra camp. We do see the Khazra camp in mid as well. Punisher completely juked. Nice Iron Skin used by Johanna. And will it be able to take out a keep here? Tempo Storm throwing pretty much everything into trying to remove a keep while sacrificing some damage on their own structures from the mercenaries.
Yeah, Nature's Calling is going to come into effect here, though. Get a lot of damage there. You see it's going to be going down here. The Punisher is going to be dead, though. That's going to be the first keep now. A 2-level lead, 2.5 level lead over their opponents. Race to 20, heavily won by them. It's a Tempo Storm's game to lose at this point. Also, keep in mind, Malfurion did end up going the root talent here at 16, so he's going to be looking for a really heavy follow-up from the Maw. If that's not going to be effective, I really feel like King of Blades comp is built around womboing. It's just going to be a Sunder Maw into a root and then proceed to like eliminate with Disintegrate. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get away with it here.
This is really smart. They know they need to fight before 20. They're waiting to see if they go for that camp, but the Wisp will scout it out. Lunara getting the efficiency already.
Yeah, a really good job on Soldier's part there, understanding that probably somewhere the hook over the wall. He has no ice block. That's going to be one dead root. Oh, the root coming out is going to, excuse me, Malfurion.
Yeah,
the root's going to come out to keep him alive.
That was big. The self-cast root just dropped that down exactly where Malfurion was, denying Goku the presence to push in. And without Rhaegar there, he couldn't cleanse to continue pushing on forward.
Honestly, I think Tempo Storm is probably going to just capture the camp on the upper half of the map. Okay, they're going to look for a fight. They're going to look for it.
All right, the Wisp has revealed at least collusion, and we do see Stitches could look for that hook. Fishing Hook doesn't give that maximum range, and it will not connect on Malfurion.
Yeah, now the Shaman Camp's going to be pushing on top. Remember, the Shaman Camp we know to be very powerful. It's the most powerful Merc other than bosses in the entire game, actually. Yeah. But it does have almost zero effect on the core. The dogs actually move in and proceed to get the splash damage, kills the Shaman. It does legitimately 0 damage. It's only a synthetic, like, fear thing. See how Li Ming's responding to it? It's going to do 0 damage up there. So I'd like to see Tempo Storm now fake that and abuse the keep on the bottom half of the map. They have 20 advantage. They have great siege. They aren't going to be trying to do it. Look at the overreaction coming out of King of Blades. That might have been something they could have capitalized on. That camp is going to do nothing. It just helps push the way.
Very true. Well, we do see Tempo just trying to control as much map presence as they can before this next shrine is active, so they don't have to worry about another split push scenario like we saw during the last shrine. But considering they have a 3-level lead, realistically just over 2, that's a big deal with the Storm talents now being selected.
And you see Zix is actually timing this camp and Tempo on the upper half of the map, timing 2 camps to be splitting in the opposite lanes that the shrine is going to be spawning. 20-tier advantage here. This is a very rough game to come back from if you are King of Blades.
So double Hardened Shield, rewind on Rhaegar for the double Lightning Shield and the double Chain Heal, and you've got the additional range there on Thornwood Vine from Soldier. He can poke from like across the map.
Yeah, he definitely can. And we're in a situation to where the siege up on bottom is going to be really effective. Tempo Storm understands their opponents aren't going to contest, so rather than keeping everybody on the map objective, they're going to look to take out this front wall. This is the best fight that they're going to get, honestly. They're either going to lose a keep or take this fight here when it comes to King of Blades. They need to choose what they want to be doing because they are not going to be able to get 20 anytime soon. You see that Nature's Calling coming into huge effect on the front wall there. And now the upper camp is pushing in a little bit. Bottom's pushing in. Tempo Storm's looking to secure it out. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Tempo looked to end the game. It's going to be crucial for King of Blades when it comes around. When they bait the leap on the Punisher here, when it's baited, they need to make sure they bait it to a keep.
Oh, max range hook onto Li Ming. Talking Trees will get burned down to just barely survive. And Tranquility has been popped. We do see Sonya has entered the fray. The Punisher is marching on in, but the fact that Tranquility was burned is enough of a win in itself.
That is huge. If they get 1 kill here, I'm pretty sure they're going to be looking at
the hook on Collusion, pulling him in. The big heal's not going to be there. Sundering desperately trying to sustain through, but Collusion goes down. Tempo Storm is just marching in with Goku. Frozen X has fallen. 3 members down, and Tempo looking to bring us to game number 3.
Absolutely. They have essentially nothing to be able to deal with that situation. But, oh, Lunara definitely overextending a little bit. The Punisher, I don't think it's going to matter, honestly. Like, when you think about it, Malfurion and King of the Blades, as long as he doesn't get the reset, it's going to be
There's
nothing.
too much health left on this Immortal. Guys, there is no way they can stop this with just Malfurion and Li Ming. Tempo Storm just chunking through that core. Game number 3 coming on up.
Absolutely. I think a lot of that came down to the draft. I don't know if this is 100% a statistic, and I haven't been able to look it up quite yet, but I am going to say that I think Sonya has a 100% win rate, and I mean, it's not a big deal. Wow. I don't think she's lost a single game.
Teams, are you listening?
Teams,
hello? Are you watching?
Hello?
Do you see this?
She's been ruining everyone, and I'd love to see Tempo finally, somebody else picking it up for these kind of games here.
As King Caffeine would say, she's decent.
She's decent. Yeah, all C9 for that matter. Pretty decent here, but we do see Tempo Storm going to be trying to get the fight over this little bit of skirmish. They do have 13-tier advantage. Watch KO. He's going to be able to get in here, try and move in, help slow everybody else on the backline there. He actually doesn't end up letting the Blizzard, but the slows that he's able to provide is really beneficial in a lot of these type of team fights.
And even with this 3-man maw that comes down, looks so good, but Goku already in a great position, gets the first kill, follows up with the slam on Johanna, and that's all they needed for that fight.
Absolutely here, and this is Tranquility coming out there. No ice block on the side of Malfurion. It's just this composition was really well done on the side of Tempo Storm. Honestly, I don't know if we saw the fact that if Ice Block came in, I don't know if they would have still won this game. But Malfurion having a little bit more of a struggle. I don't think he won 1 game so far, actually, this tournament.
Well, the threat of Hook of Stitches really paid off. The variety in supports and warriors, very good. Game number 3 coming up next. Alrighty, guys, welcome back here as we are setting up for game number 3 between Tempo Storm and King of Blades Alpha. This is an elimination match.
This is, I mean, game number 3, everything's on the line. Towers of the Doom is the map go-to here. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Tempo look for a Viking pick on this map. We've seen them do it in the recent past, and it's something that KO is a very good Vikings player. I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to bust it out. I don't know, from a competitive standpoint, if I would feel comfortable taking my pocket strats, even though they're very good, the ones that I don't necessarily practice every single day, right? Like, I don't know if I'd be willing to bust that out when this is legit. It could be my last game that I play on the stage.
You want to play safe, play reserved, and make sure you play to your best level, or rather than risk it?
Not so much safe, because obviously safe is the last thing you want to do when you could lose 1 game and go home. But you don't pick every draft where you go, you know what, we're going to play Vikings, and we're going to play Vikings, and you don't spam the Vikings usually. It's one of those once in a while you pull it out, so I don't feel like it's going to be something that they do here. But yes, Towers of Doom is going to be the map here. Zeratul going to be a hot topic, as always, banned out right out the gates. So where are we going to see as a response from Tempo?
Could be Rhaegar. I mean, Rhaegar does have a very high pick ban, well, 100% pick ban rate, but a very high win rate in general. But we also see other big priorities, like Greymane Li Ming has been doing wondrous things on the side of King of Blades Alpha, but Falstad, that global presence, they're just considering that too much of a threat.
Absolutely, and Greymane and Li Ming are who I am looking for when it comes to King of Blades Alpha in their comp. Zagara is going to be something that they tried to deny a little bit from Tempo Storm. We know that's kind of a go-to on the side for KO, and
you know, you were talking about Lost Vikings a lot, and those are 2 anti-Lost Vikings heroes.
You're not wrong. I don't... Where in the draft do you pull it out? Do you risk it making all the way through? Probably.
Yeah. Because I don't see any reason to do it early.
Tempo Storm's got last pick.
They do.
We're going to see if they're willing to let it go that far through the draft here. Rhaegar, now, as you said, Rhaegar first pick here on King of Blades Alpha. Tempo Storm's going to be looking for the response. I think these 2 picks are going to be probably pretty telling on what they want to have. I think Zagara's going to be 100%. Actually, maybe not completely, if that is going to be what they look for is going to be on the Vikings, because I believe KO will be their main Zagara and Viking player here. Thrall going to be locked in. Great solo laner here overall. A little bit of a deny for King of Blades Alpha as well.
It could be, but they still have the option to go for Li Ming Greymane if they both make it through there. So King of Blades Alpha, we saw that power in game 1, that the synergy of those 2 heroes really shining through. So Tempo Storm has to be aware of that and might be considering to just snipe that Leeming early.
I think they have to take it if they're going to play Vikings.
There it is.
Because, like, you cannot deal with that
the reset.
situation.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's too scary.
It's like, oh, I just killed Olaf. Okay, and now I just killed your entire roster. That's awkward. So it's going to be pretty neat here what they're going to be able to do with that. So they lock it in. Not uncommon. It's pretty much what we saw from King of Blades Alpha in the first draft here, just a little bit swapped on the side for Tempo Storm. But what's the response here going to be? Is it going to be Sonya, Jaina? Are we going to see Sonya at all coming out from this team, or are we going to see him pull away? I know that King of Blades Alpha has it in their roster. They just don't play it as kind of universally as some of the other teams here at this tournament, Jake.
They've got the power. They've got the potential to run with that Sonya, but do they believe in magic? Now, Cho'Gall obviously could be one of those options here early, but I'm not too sure. I mean, great for powering
Sonya
through and just poking ahead at the altars while they're being fought over, but Sonya Tassadar is a little bit more of a norm.
I love the pickup on their part, honestly. I did learn, by the way, in the break that Sonya does not, in fact, have a 100% win rate. It is a very high win rate overall, but sadly, it is not 100%.
80% win rate.
80% win rate going to be coming out on her. So let's see if that keeps up here. If King of Blades is going to be able to abuse that and walk away with a win here, I do think Jaina is something that Tempo Storm needs to be looking at, either picking up or denying on the when it comes to their pick ban phase here.
Zagara, they're just going to remove one of those big solo laners to give Thrall a potential edge in the early game and controlling a lane. King of Blades Alpha, are they worried about secluding maybe some of those warrior pickups, or do they respect the threat of Lost Vikings?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where this draft's going to go. There's a lot of like options within when these guys have their kind of backs against the wall, if you will, that they could be going with. I think Tempo's next two picks will tell if they're going to go into a Viking style play there with the KO, but I think they're going to play it a little more safe. I am, like I said, worried about seeing if the denial of Jaina is going to come into play. I don't know how well Jaina and Li Ming do pair together. It's obviously a double mage does pretty well, and both are really strong heroes. And Li Ming and Jaina would complement a little bit to each other, but it is a very burst-oriented composition when considering you're facing a Tassadar.
Wow, they're just respecting Stitches. Srey just got so many big, impactful hooks on the Malfurion and Zagara, you name it, in that game, and they don't want to have to worry about it.
The support. If the support's picked right now, it's a Vikings.
Dread's making the bold calls. Which support do you like here? Brightwing's good for global presence. Karazim is just good in general.
Morales.
Morales, okay.
If that's the route that you're going to be going, I think that would be a good way to be looking. I don't know. But they don't have to, right? Like, there's so many options.
Toronto hasn't been played too much in the last few games, but you always have to remember the power of Pierce at interrupting some of those altars while they're being channeled. They lock in Uther.
Unless this is going to be a European cheese strategy that I know of when it comes to this kind of play here, I doubt that it's going to be that case. So I don't think that Uther is telling. I think that Uther is pretty telling on what Tempo's looking to do in this draft.
So this would be Johanna for Srey, most likely?
Yeah, most likely. I think Johanna is going to be something that they look to do. It's a really comfortable pick for him. I personally think they should be concentrating on any form of disengage that they possibly can, that they don't want to be able to deal with here. Falstad is really good for that. That's I don't know.
Well, Falstad's banned in this case, so they can't grab him. But
I'm gonna say JoJo just for comfortability. I'd like to see Murden. I think Murden's better at this type of situation.
Okay.
I just think he's innately just a better hero.
There's the
across
Johanna.
the board. So, all right. Well,
I think most people agree with you. People say that it's usually ETC, Murden, Stitches as like the top three, with Murden and ETC at the top, and Johanna's kind of just below that threshold in scenarios, based on the general consensus, at least here in North America.
Yeah. All right. And so I'm still putting money on Vikings. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if they like it, but I feel like that Uther, they're hiding something.
All right, Diablo and Sonya. This is a King of Blades Alpha classic. Apocalypse with Heroic Leap.
Yep.
They have taken a lot of teams, you know, off their guard. This is one of their more powerful compositions, and especially when you consider the power of Force Wall paired with this, Ancestral for the big heals, and a strafe to follow up during the chaos of that Apocalypse. It is massively powerful.
Yeah, it's what they love to do with their compositions, kind of the creativity of maybe kind of like blades there that they pull out. And so I do agree with you. It will be an APOC leap on the side of King of Blades Alpha, just pretty much a staple mark when it comes to them. But Tempo's still yet to pick in that last pick.
So, I mean, Lost Vikings, it's 3 heroes in 1, and you're all over the place. And Apocalypse casts an Apocalypse on every single hero in the entire map. Is that enough to dissuade you from running Vikings?
It's Vikings. It's 100% Vikings.
Oh, he's calling it. There it is! Baylog, Eric, and Olaf, the Lost Vikings, will be played for the first time in this tournament on Towers of Doom by Tempo Storm. This is an elimination match. Only one team can advance to the playoffs from here, and one team will be going home with a defeat.
I mean, I just want to say that I said if it's going to be an Uther in that rotation, or if support in that rotation, it's going to be a Vikings.
You're the analysis master. You think I doubted you?
That is not insider info. That's just me knowing how they like to kind of play this map, watching them play against Cloud9. It's just pulling off from the their play style, like much like Glarong on Cognitive, they all have their own play style too. This is kind of tempos when it comes to certain maps. So going to be interesting how it plays out. I think it's very hard to deal with. I'm going to say that I don't necessarily agree that Vikings are that powerful of a strategy on this map that it's going to be a free win by any chance, but I think with the inexperience that exists on the side of King of Blades Alpha, that it could be enough to make it to where they aren't able to deal with this unique strategy. I mean, when teams as veteran as Cloud9 have a hard time with it, how can you say that teams like King of Blades, I mean, they might know exactly how to deal with it, but it is very difficult to deal with.
Yeah. And it's so interesting, and we talked about those first bans. I mean, the Zeratul ban. Zeratul is very good at eliminating the Vikings because the stealth doesn't show up on the minimap, and that's one of the greatest ways to respond to that hero. You watch your minimap, you look to see if anyone's trying to gank you. Zeratul gets the jump on Eric, and he's gone.
And here we go. This is going to be it. Tempo Storm is going to be playing King of Blades Alpha in Game 3 here, ladies and gentlemen, on Towers of Doom. Goku is going to be on the Thrall. Srey will be playing the Johanna. Zix will be on the Uther. KO is going to be on the Lost Vikings. And Soldier will be playing Li Ming.
King of Blades Alpha, the dark horse of the event with Talking Trees on Tassadar, Collusion playing Diablo, Dark Chimera on Rhaegar, we got Frozen X playing Vala, and Tomster on Sonya. This is the final match of the series. Only one team can move on, and let's just jump right on in to Towers of Doom.
There it goes. We're going to see Sonya. She's going to have the Leap APOC. How well are they going to be able to execute that against Tempo Storm here with the Lost Vikings? The very, not necessarily uncommon strategy, but definitely not one that you walk into every Hero League game with here. KO is going to be playing that. He loves that hero. I've played with him a lot with it. I've watched him play a lot with it. He's very, very good on it here. And so a lot of it's going to come down to Tempo Storm split pushing. King of Blades Alpha pulling a 65% right there. Absolutely phenomenal support coming out for these teams. And let's see if they're able to do it. They have the Sonya.
I mean, the Diablo Sonya, this is a classic here for this team. They've even taken games off Cloud9, if I'm not mistaken, using the Apocalypse Heroic Leap combo. In Heroic Leap, we usually see Wrath of the Berserker on Sonya, but that could very much be shaken up here in this matchup. Is Tempo Storm ready? Are they prepared for this? And is the Viking strat, having this huge presence, having them one in each lane, going to be enough?
I don't know if I think that is going to be enough here, but I do like the approach that they're going to have in this game here. Tempo Storm soaking all of the lanes here. Diablo trying to make sure he gets a kill elsewhere. This is going to be a very hard game to keep track of when it comes to the information elsewhere on the map. The root's going to come down in the upper half, but you see Tempo is just 4-man pushing a lane, and then it's essentially on bottom lane. Diablo has very little kill potential on the Vikings if he's a good Viking player. Mid lane, Sonya, if he pushes out the lane at all, it's essentially free soak there as well. I'm surprised that he hasn't decided to swap mid and to top. Olaf has the highest survivability and best laning out of these, but the kill potential in the lanes in the Viking is absolutely crucial, because if you can zone them, they gain a lot. Also, keep in mind, Li Ming with that harass on turrets, even better. It's like having a Sylvanas when it comes to this strat, but the 5-man collapse.
Oh, yeah, they're getting on Zix very quickly. The flip on in, and Zix will end up going down here. A big pickup for King of Blades Alpha early.
Yeah, it really is. And like when it comes to this map, why the Vikings are so influential, not only are they able to split pressure everywhere, split cap everywhere, but also the soak becoming a huge, huge play here. So they are able to cap on bottom, they're able to soak on top, and while the rest of the team delays on mid, it's very hard decision making. King of Blades Alpha from this point on need to be very, very crisp.
So things to point out, as Lost Vikings does indeed have Bribe at level 1. Having a Viking in each lane, they can maximize their soaks and maximize the stack of that Bribe mechanic. If they grab the Shamblers in a lane lane that isn't being protected, that can really add up throughout the game and burning through those structures. But Diablo getting caught well out of position, and Tempo get the kill themselves.
That's worst case scenario to happen during the Shrine spawns here, because King of Blades Alpha pretty much needs the trade over their opponents, right? They have Vikings soaking all the lane. They have the ability to cap multiple at once, but if you lose somebody, you cannot contest the Vikings at all the points that they are. So now they've lost soak in one of the lanes, a couple of minions here or there. They've lost it in another lane, and they lost both of the caps, all because Diablo died in that situation. Absolute worst case coming out from them. They can't make, if they make 2 more mistakes like that, I don't think they can win this game with how hard this strategy is coming out from Tempo.
I was really expecting King of Blades Alpha to kind of own the early altars in this situation, just because Lost Vikings
That's what
are really, they're about, you know, disrupting you in the late game, and 8 damage already done, that is a really rough start.
What I would say, the way the deal with the Vikings a little bit easier to Thompson, maybe overextending a little bit too much there, but he is going to be able to back out. King of Blades going to just headbutt right over into his team there, but it's not going to be enough to confirm one more kill here. But really, when it comes down to XP on this map, right, we were talking about yesterday how experience on this map is more valuable on every other map, because if you aren't on the same talent tier, you can't take a fright over the shrines, and you can't backdoor anywhere. There is no backdoor strategy. Saplings coming in, a lot of damage there, taking out the front gate. Really well done there, but ultimately, I would like to see King of Blades soak evenly with the Vikings. They can't late game team fight. They can't. If they match them in XP through the whole game, and then they take the team fights very late, but they don't lose too many of the shots, I think they can win this game. I think if they do what they just did and risk those early game shots and risk their early game XP, they will end up falling behind enough to not be able to walk away with a win.
All right, we'll see what they do. KO about to lose Baylog, but he jukes the Ancient Spear and keeps Baylog alive. Nicely done by him. Great control in all 3 of the Lost Vikings. Now we have Tempo Storm working on a top camp of the Sappers, and with that Mercenary Lord, KO can really add additional push potential on those mercenaries.
Yeah, and the split pressure there from the Merc camps. The Sapling's going to be threatening up there. KO still soaking on the bottom half of the map. It's so difficult to deal with this here. I'm going to be trying to keep a little bit of track here of the Vikings when I can, when it comes to their stacks. Overall, really well done here. So now watch. King of Blades Alpha, how are they going to deal with this situation? If they make the same mistake that they made last time, that's going to be pretty rough. Diablo is dealing with bottom lane. No kill potential there, but he is going to give up a little bit of XP. So now watch how well the Vikings are able to cap with one, and then 4-man delay on the other, and then commit to a full team fight. This is so hard to deal with. The King of Blades is in a rough spot.
Yeah, it looks like Tempo will have at least Baylog waiting for that. Alter, you're going to start channeling that very quickly. But it looks like the zoning is actually quite good here for King of Blades, so they will be able to get their first altar of the game. Great zoning there by Collusion.
That was absolutely colossal play there on their half. But what they need to do is stop chasing for kills. They need to worry about the XP. Again, if they leave Vikings there soaking everything as best they can, that XP might stagger enough to where they have nothing to do. But good step. That's a step in the right direction if you are King of Blades to deal with this composition on the side of Tempo. I just absolutely love it.
Oh, looks like KO might be losing Eric here. Oh, just too slippery. The additional rain. Ooh, Shadow Charge picking up the kill, confirming the first kill of a Viking in this game, if I believe. But Collusion stayed too long with that aggressive Shadow Charge, and he'll end up falling, spending many souls in the process.
Yeah, and I mean, he accepts his fate there, but it's just, he only got a Viking kill there, so definitely not worth the 1/3 for 1 trade on his half. Sapling's now pressuring the bottom half of the map, Soak in all parts, and Tempo Storm now has obtained a 1-level lead. So in these next shrines, which they are going to be level 10 before they spawn, now we see the King of Blades Alpha can't answer, and you're like, well, at least they'll be able to out-soak them, and they say, that's actually not the case. I have a Viking in every single one of these lanes.
So is this going to be a play again, or is it going to be the longbow raid?
It's got to be longbow. If he can play again, but it makes his early game, they have to end the game, honestly, before 20 minutes, in my opinion. It's absolutely important and crucial that they do that, because play again essentially takes away your team fighting potential.
True. Yeah, you're just a utility.
You're legitimately a walking just human to cap something at that point. And so it's not that it's useless, but specifically in this competitive situation, I think that boat is really the way to be looking at it. And you do see him lock in the boat here, and his team fight will be able to make it to the late game. Post 20, the team fight coming out from Vikings is insane.
Yeah, the longboat raid is quite powerful in the late game. Well, we do see level 10 just about here for King of Blades Alpha, trying to recapture their bottom altar, as the Shamblers did successfully burn through it. And as this is the worst time in the world for that to happen, with altars spawning in 20 seconds, that means since 5 bell towers are controlled for Tempo Storm, they will do 5 damage to the core if they channel that altar.
They don't have to worry about anything here. They're going to get the pull. They aren't going to fully commit, though. This is going to be a 4 versus 4 for the time being.
Apocalypse being used, but no success. The Sundering Display slicing the team in a beautiful massive ancestral heal going in, but the damage from Li Ming in the back, gonna get the reset, no collusion, barely staying alive, and he will be able to walk on back with that last-minute heal.
I mean, okay, so you only lose one person in that situation, but there's something more to be looking at. If you just lost to a Vikings, like you already lost one person in a Viking situation right there, you chose that fight, you lose the fight, and you're playing against a Viking soaking all 3 lanes. It's kind of telling of where this game might be headed, Jake.
5 damage done too from that, 23 to 36 in the health on each of the team's cores, and the Viking power really being shown off here. KO, very experienced player, very flexible with his picks.
Absolutely, and like I said, he absolutely loves playing those Vikings. I remember when they first released, he pretty much only played them for about a week, and to be able to figure it out as best as he possibly could. But the flank coming on the upper half of the map, he is going to have one E here. Keep in mind, Prescience hasn't come into play quite yet, so when it is used, it is over. He might be able to beat. No, he's going to back out there. Trees will survive here, but Tempo Storm with just running all over the map, applying pressure everywhere that they possibly can, Jake. It's going to be really hard to come back for King of Blades Alpha.
Well, the bottom bell tower has been reclaimed by King of Blades Alpha, so that's going to put them on even footing. But with the Sappers in the top lane and a big presence from Tempo Storm, they're going to look to reclaim that one for themselves.
Absolutely, and now 13-tier advantage is going to be attained on the side of Tempo Storm. Soaking again, Vikings still in all 3 lanes, using that one soaking every lane 4-man pushing strategy that they have here. But it looks like King of Blades trying to make some kind of harassment, but keep in mind, somebody is soaking each one of the side lanes here. They're trying to deal with the pressure, but they're still trying to choose a fight here, and you see Goku getting aggressive on the upper half. The minute that they realize they're going to try and take a 4 vs 3, they look for the turn. Singular Shrine here. Probably one of their best chances for a team fight. If the Vikings don't show up, if they don't win this team fight, I really don't know if they're going to have the chance to, honestly.
It looks like Tempo just wants to keep the pressure on in the mid lane as they're just powering through those towers one after another. Not too many sappers available to be picked up by the Lost Vikings, so they're just opting to soak in the lanes respectively.
But now he's actually backing out, and he realizes this one shrine is going to be a 5 vs 5 fight. Not letting that happen. The cleanse coming out from Ziggs. Very good play there.
Apocalypse on no one, and a huge condemn coming out from Saray. The Ancestral Heal will connect, but not on Talking Trees. Dark Chimera running away, getting out a huge force wall, locking them in, but Collusion is stuck in there with Tempo Storm and has to spend his souls to respawn.
Absolutely, that was really well done. Now he's got one going to cap the shrine here. We have KO using those Vikings to the best of his ability, and that was really good decision making on the side of KO, not getting a little bit too risky, understanding that that was one of the only team fights that their opponents really could make a big win out of, and he says, okay, I'm going to rotate out, I'm going to take that team fight right there. Imagine if that was play again, that team fight could have been completely different. So I really like the pick up there, going with the boat, and now deciding to look and take that fight whenever it's the singular shrine. Tempo Storm playing very well and looking to honestly deserve this lead that they have right now.
Yeah, double Sapper Camp in the bottom. KO might end up losing Olaf here, especially with Force Wall. Oh, he's jumping, but the Force Wall will lock him out. In the side storm, not enough for the kill.
Dude. Olaf, best Viking NA, dude. He just, and now best part about it, he's just going to sit in the little bit corner and just heal up his health as best as he can. There you go. Olaf the Indestructible. That's even post the nerf that he originally had. So doing a really good job up there. But now Tassar getting a little bit hypey on that Olaf. Might be punished for it.
Oh, Goku is here and looking for the punish. Saray from behind. Condemn will be cast to pull him back in. And the Envenom enough to try to get this kill. Disintegrate will be more than enough there to finalize it.
And look at the capitalization on the bottom half. Kings of Blade Alpha are trying to make something happen here, but they're losing a fort for a front wall, and not only that, they're losing the 16-tier advantage here. It's just a really hard game for them to come back on. Tempo Storm using these Vikings and understanding the strategy very, very well, being able to take games off of teams like Cloud9, and it shows why. Now you see them getting 16-tier. They're looking at trying to flank. No, instead it looks like they're going to try and capitalize, get as many forts as possibly as they possibly
this bell tower, I mean, they're poking it down with that mirror ball that has now been picked up here at level 16 on Li Ming, and the presence that she has. Look at this siege. Yeah. She has cast 4 abilities and done about 60% of this bell tower's health.
I mean, calculated, I guess. I don't know what to say about that one. I mean, Li Ming's got a lot going for her here. Now 16-tier advantage, 2 of the shrines going to spawn. 4 people are going to look to defend King of Blades Alpha from being able to get the cap. One of the Vikings is going to look to cap on the backside, and then you're going to see them move in all together, 5 vs 5, take and force the fight, 16-tier advantage with the boat.
Yeah, Baylog and Olaf are both in position for that left altar, and this big presence here on the right side for Tempo Storm. Goku taking a bit of light pressure, but Saray has the peel needed, really stalling as long as they can. We see the Vikings have actually pushed on in, looking looking for that longbow raid with this very aggressive posture.
Yeah, it's interesting. They actually decided KO move everybody forward on those Vikings rather than backing out.
Oh, Disintegrate and Sundering. Not going to be enough to kill Tommy as he goes in with a huge heroic leap, but he will end up falling. Dark Chimera saves himself, but cannot save Diablo. And the double warrior composition, both have gone down.
And they're just getting poked down a little bit too much. The shield coming in, calculated there on Frozen X part. They're going to lose now what is going to be 5 more shots. It's going to be 5 more shots as well, and they might even look to take a boss there, yes. So that will be, what are we going to be sitting at here? That's 4. They're going to be 5 health left on the, 5
health to 36, Dreadnought.
And 16 tier advantage. It's not even just the health, it's honestly that you're down in XP as well. You aren't even on the same footing as your opponent, and it's not like you have the wave clear to deal with the outsoak, right? If King of Blades Alpha had better wave clear than they did on their composition with this double tank, this might be a different story. If you can wave clear and rotate and deal with the Vikings, it's fine. The problem is you've seen Diablo solo laning half the game trying to be able to deal with it.
Well, the Lost Vikings pick so far so good for Tempo Storm at this point in time, considering they control, well, back down to 4 bell towers, but they have all of these sappers being picked up. They can look to really, really force a death situation for King of Blades Alpha. And King of Blades Alpha, if they lose a team fight, it's lights out.
I just want you to know that there's about to be 3 shots moving into the core on the upper half of the map.
Oh yeah, they're making it past because the bell tower hasn't respawned yet. Those triple sappers will bring the core down to just 2 HP. A big misplay by King of Blades.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's a little bit of one of those situations where it definitely hurts that they got more shots in the core, but they're so far behind at this point. I don't know if it's going to make that big of a difference, but let's see how they can do it. This is the best fight they're going to get.
Tomster gets completely secluded and blown up. Collusion has just get nerfed down by the stuns, and his life is just over. The reset of Li Ming not even needed anymore because they can just push in for that death blow as they can just burn through these bell towers.
Yeah, Tempo Storms are going to keep taking all the force that they can while their opponents are dead here. You see Li Ming going to clear on bottom, the rest going to top. This is really kind of a situation where King of Blades just has nothing they can do until
all three bell towers are going to be down.
Yeah,
and that means that there's actually going to be damage dealt to your core. If you don't control a single bell tower, you will lose the game.
They have to stop defending top. They have to go clear on mid right now.
No, they lose. This is it. The bell tower is going to fall.
Clear mid. That's the only opportunity. That's going to be GG.
GG. Tempo Storm on a huge game number 3 versus King of Blades Alpha will be victorious and advance into the playoffs. You'll see that Siege, 1 damage done to the core. The Ancestral doesn't connect, and the final shot is traveling in. GG. Tempo Storm is going to playoffs.
Absolutely, and with a very unique strategy right there, KO on those Lost Vikings. We know that he loved them. I honestly didn't expect to see them kind of pull out that type of strategy, but I mean, it's what they felt they needed to do. Backs against the wall. That was match point, and they well deserved, honestly.
But a huge props to King of Blades Alpha. They really showed up here, the dark horse of the event. They took game number 1, and they showed a lot of promise in diverse strategies. You see that desperate heroic leap to juke the Sundering, but it wasn't enough as Ancestral Heal went off on Chimera himself. Diablo not able to sustain through, and this was really just Tempo Storm securing that big damage, the 10 damage to the core, which ultimately led to an end-winning move.
Yeah, very much so, especially with those couple of shots. In theory, actually, we were talking about those few saplings moving on top. The game might not have ended right there. Obviously, the disadvantage was very heavy against King of Blades Alpha, but because of those 3 shots, that confirmed the lethal right there. But we do move into this replay here. Sray trying to get really aggressive here, and this is the best team fight. Tomster just getting absolutely wrecked in that type of team fight right there, and Tempo just, I mean, very dominant performance.
So Tempo Storm in game number 1, they did a bit of an unorthodox draft with the lone Leoric and lone Brightwing.
Yeah.
Mixed things up heavily after that, but honestly, all 3 of their compositions were rather different.
Absolutely. I mean, they definitely showed a little bit of diversity on how they wanted to approach the game. I do agree that first strat did seem a little bit crazy there, and I feel like King of Blades Alpha got almost everything that they wanted there. But they did. They took it back. They figured out what they were doing wrong. They adapted when it came to the draft, and they are going to be moving on to the next round because of it.
Now, this does, in fact, mean that King of Blades Alpha's journey has ended here, but of course, they played phenomenally. Congratulations on making it this far to begin with. But Tempo Storm moving on forward for their chance to make their way all the way to Korea at the World Championship. Do you think they can do it?
I mean, I definitely think they have the opportunity to. I think it will be an uphill battle, to say the least, but I think they have the opportunity.
Well, it sounds like we are ready to roll with an interview. Take it away, Anna.
Guys, I was just talking to my friend here who was saying it's so hard to just come straight from a game like that and be shaking and make coherent words. So don't worry, they don't have to be coherent, but how are you feeling after that 3-game series?
Feeling amazing, you know, being in the top 4 rounds now. Yeah, those were really intense games. pretty scary to start the series off with a loss, but I think we really kept our composure together and, you know, pulled it off. So just really happy now, relieved.
King of Blades keeps being referred to as the dark horse of the tournament. The casters were mentioning them like that. They did manage to take a game off of you in game 2. Are they a dark horse, or what do you think of them?
Yeah, I actually think they're incredibly talented players. There's a lot of raw talent on that team, especially for a team that's really new. You know, we knew they were going to be a good team at Heroes Rising. Just playing them in scrims and in tournaments and stuff, you can really tell that they're a really dominant team, and you know, they definitely have a good future ahead of them.
Well, I know what I want to especially hear about is the Lost Vikings. That was the first time we saw them in the tournament. Casters, did you have any questions about the Lost Vikings?
I mean, I didn't specifically. I just wanted to know actually kind of when you decided you were going to pick them. Not so much in the draft, because I feel like the minute that you picked the support, it was pretty straightforward that you were looking to hide the Viking pick. What I was really interested in is, did you guys say if it goes to game 3, we're going towers and we're going Vikings, or did you just decide midway through it's like, oh, it's on towers, like let's just do Vikings?
We definitely had the Vikings as a strategy that we knew we had, you know, ready to pull out, but we weren't necessarily committed to picking Vikings there. We were still waiting to see exactly what they opted to go for. I think the point where we really knew that we were going to go with the Vikings is when we got up like the really strong 4-man rotation squad. We knew we were going to dominate with the roam, and all we really needed was the soak. So we got all the rest of the piece of the puzzle, and Vikings just made it perfect.
I wanted to piggyback off that, actually. I was sitting next to Gillyweed, who was saying, if they let Tempo Storm pick Vikings, there's no chance. If they let them pick this, they're done. Do you think that's the case, or what could they have done to overcome your Vikings?
I mean, I really think you do have to respect our Vikings. So, you know, I think that was a mistake on their part to just, you know, let me have it. They could have, you know, in the second ban rotation, that probably would have been their chance to take it out. But against it, I think with the draft they had, it would have been really tough. But basically just being able to zone Vikings and handle the 4-man rotations better. But we kept getting the better end of the 4-man rotations. So Vikings just got infinite value.
Well, you certainly did very well. Congratulations again, and thanks for your time when I know that you like to go celebrate with your team, so feel free to go do that. But guys, we'll be back with lots more Heroes of the Storm. We're getting to the end of groups and into playoffs very soon, so don't go anywhere.